What's going on, guys, and welcome to episode 12 of the Fallen for Film podcast. I am your host, Ryan O'Toole, and I'm joined here today by my co-host, Mr. Colin Williams. Colin, how you doing today, man?
Good. Just another week and enjoying summer break, as you know, and just hanging out, ready to talk about some movie news, and we have some great guests as well. So interested to for another week on the podcast. Really excited.
I'm excited too as well. And Colin, actually, I'm going to take a few minutes right here and actually just say something really quickly. Before we introduce our guests, Colin and I would be doing a disservice to everybody who is watching the show right now if we didn't address what's going on in the world and address the elephant in the room, which is the Black Lives Matter movement. And really quickly, before we dive into everything, we just want to offer our condolences to George Floyd and his family right now in the tough times they're going through right now. Our hearts and condolences go out to them right now.
100%.
Yes. Now, people in today's world are frightened. They're scared. They're angry. And they're sad right now. And they have every right to be. And we stand with those people today. The goal of today's episode is to not only talk about these issues and what's going on in the world, but to also provide an escape and talk about the thing we all love most, which is movies. Now, let me share a personal story with you guys growing up. I grew up in a town that offered a big community, a diverse community of people. And I've met many different people, different ethnicities growing up. And I can proudly say that many of the friends I made growing up are still my friends today. My best friend is Black, and I wouldn't change the world for that. And that community shaped me into the person that I am today. I started this YouTube channel in January 2016 with the obvious goal of becoming a bigger and better YouTuber, but building a community was what I wanted to do the most. I wanted that community to be diverse. Big YouTubers, smaller YouTubers, older movie fans, younger movie fans, males, females, LGBTQ members, everyone from different ethnicities. And it doesn't matter where you came from, and it doesn't matter how you look. We all share one thing that we all love. We all love movies. And I'm proud to say that that community that I've built since January of 2016 has resembled the community has resembled the town that I grew up in. My two guests today not only resemble that community I wanted to start since January 2016, but they are two people that have a voice that need to be heard right now. And Colin and I are giving these two a platform to allow their voices to be heard because we are all equal. My first guest today, I was on this man's channel most recently. He actually interviewed me and we talked about getting real. He talked about how I started my YouTube channel, what it was like growing up, and how I became the man that I am today. And I'm very excited to have him on the Fallen for Film podcast. He's a huge fan. That is Ronald E. Smith. Ronald, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, guys. God bless you guys. I'm proud to be here. I'm proud to do the right thing, and that's a good way to start it out. And I love that.
We're very excited to have you here today, Ronald. And my second guest today, I'm a huge fan of this guy's channel as well. And I'm meeting him for the first time today. And he does a lot of things over on his channel, movie reviews, and has a lot of great social media pages. And I've always wanted to collaborate with him. And that is Elliott from Movie Files. Elliott, how you doing here today, man?
Doing good, Ryan. Colin, happy to be on with you, Ron. Of course, this is a really, really dark time in not only the world, as we all know, but also in America particularly. And it's important to have these conversations. To be on this platform is awesome. So, Ryan, Colin, again, thank you for having me on. And I'm honored to be here with Ron as well and have these conversations. And also, like you said, Ryan, talk about some things that we all can relate to and love, and that's movies too. So I'm really happy to be here and break it all down.
Yes, we're very excited to have you both here, Elliott and Ronald, not only to talk about the things going on in the world, but to provide an escape and talk about the movies, the things we want to talk about, and just have fun today. Be positive because, the world right now is just going through tough times, and it's always great to come on here and just have a laugh and just have a great time talking about movies. Before we get into all the movie news, we usually just like to open things up and just talk about what we've been doing most recently. Colin, how have you been doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm guarantee we all are gonna have similar answers. We're watching movies while we're not doing anything.
Yeah.
You
So,
might have a
I'm
different,
not doing
I
anything.
might have a different say in that.
yeah, you might be. But I'm a teacher, so I'm on summer break. So I'm chilling, watching movies, relaxing, doing that whole type of stuff. I really want to know what our guests have been doing because I don't.
Me too.
What's interesting about this week is I don't know you guys very well, and I'm like super excited. Like that's what podcasts are about, is like get to know your guests and like just it's funny, like all the guests we've had before I never really knew either, and now I'm friends with them. So I got two soon to be friends right here too. So what have you guys been doing, Ronald?
Well, first off, I've been watching anime. I'm a humongous anime fan. Okay, so like I've been either catching up on old anime that I watched way back when, like the Case Closed, also known as Detective Conan, but also watching the newest ones, My Hero Academia, The Demon Slayer, but also too going back to some shows I love. I also love cartoons. Okay, I watched Young Justice, watching some the Harley Quinn show, and before it came out, I think it was this month, the Avatar: Last Airbender. I rewatched all of it again just to get a good idea about what do I still like it, or maybe in my head I'm just clouding it with nostalgia. No, I'm not.
It's so good, dude.
That good.
I love Avatar. That's my favorite cartoon. Elliott. So what have you been doing, man?
A little bit of everything that you guys said as well. Watching a lot of movies. Just recently watched a terrible movie on Netflix, The Last Days of American Crime. It's easily the worst movie I've seen this far this year. It is terrible movie. And then watching, like kind of what Ron said, just been catching up on some things like Doom Patrol. I know you mentioned the Harley Quinn show. I didn't watch Doom Patrol because I don't have the DC Universe app. So Doom Patrol is on HBO Max, and I know the new season's coming out later this month. So I want to kind of catch up because I heard some really good things about it. It's a really interesting show. Really, really cool characters that I wasn't too familiar with the DC Universe. So I've been watching that. And something I always do on my channel too, outside of reviewing movies, is reviewing shows. So I'm actually in the process of finishing up 13 Reasons Why, the 4th season, just because I want to talk. I have so many different shows that I talked about on my
Brave soul.
channel.
Brave soul.
I'm in the process of finishing this up and talking about it here probably later today and review tomorrow. So just TV shows and movies. Yeah.
The anime, I need to get into that because I know, especially with HBO Max, is the Studio Ghibli.
Ghibli.
Like I've said
there for you.
Yeah, I have not. Is Spirited Away Studio Ghibli? That's like the big one.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Spirited Away is very good.
Okay, that's the big one. I feel like I need to start with that one because that's the one everyone like, even the mainstream.
Then Kiki's Delivery Service. That's another really good one.
Yeah, and I it's not that I'm like against why. I just genuinely haven't watched it because I just haven't.
Just don't listen to the overhype, because sometimes overhype can kill a movie for you.
Well, I have no idea what the movies are actually about. I just know they're anime, and I just haven't watched much of them. So, and now I have HBO Max, so I'm excited to get into that because it has different content that I haven't seen yet. And I, with the summer break and stuff, I have time to do that. So I'm excited about that. A lot of people have been recommending it too. You're not the first person that has said something about that.
I can't wait till you see it. Oh, you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah. So I've just been watching a lot of classic movies. I rewatched Fight Club most recently. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. That's such a great movie. That probably might be my favorite David Fincher movie over Social Network. I love Brad Pitt and Edward Norton in that movie. Just it's so good. I watched Good Will Hunting as well. That movie, oh my goodness, is so good. Robin Williams, rest in peace, man. What a performance. And Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. They wrote that movie. They won the Oscar. Like, it's so good, really powerful. And it's also a Boston movie too. It took place in Southie and Cambridge. So seeing all the locations, I know where that place is. So that's really good. And as well, getting ready for, some certain series. Hopefully, Tenet still comes out. I'm starting up my Nolan series, my Nolan binge watch again. So lots of things coming up, and I'm hoping Tenet and stuff does come out. But yeah, that's what I've been doing most recently.
So awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. So we do have a lot of we don't have a lot of movie news to dive into today, but we have some exciting things we're going to do towards the end of the podcast. And before we talk about the movie news, if you guys want to find us on different podcast platforms, because many people ask me, you can follow us over there on iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play. And please rate us and give us a review. We've gotten a few reviews, and we appreciate the reviews. And please rate us as well. We want to be rated.
One of them was my girlfriend, though. But she was. She was like, she does watch listen to the podcast though. So I mean, it is valuable. But it was my girlfriend.
That's great.
So we need one more other than Sienna. So.
Yeah. Yes. Please go. Please go follow us over there. Spotify, Google Play, and iTunes. All right. So, gentlemen, let's talk about some little drama going on with AMC Theaters right now. Apparently, there's a lot of controversy about AMC Theaters possibly going bankrupt and stuff in time before Tenet. Apparently, a lot of movie theaters right now are scrambling along, trying to figure out their health plans and stuff. A lot of the theaters are rumored to be opening up pretty soon, especially in time for Tenet. But apparently, the question is, are these theaters going to be open in time for Tenet and Mulan, which is supposed to come out in July next month? And that's a very important discussion I wanted to have today. So I'm going to kick it over to our guests first. I want to hear, Elliott, what do you think about all of this drama?
Yeah, man. I mean, even more fuels to the fire with AMC and obviously Universal from last month and that whole debacle that hasn't been resolved yet in regards to how how AMC took the news of Trolls and how they're doing VOD in the same day and all that. But outside of that, in regards to just AMC as a whole, I've AMC is my theater. I love going to AMC. I'm part of the A-list club and all that stuff. And I definitely love to support my smaller independent theaters. But when it comes to big blockbuster films, I'm always at AMC. So to hear that they're going under and who knows if they'll be able to, once we do get that green light to go back to the theaters, how many of those theaters are going to still be around that are branded under AMC? And it's just a crazy time to think that the big behemoth, as far as when it goes to the movie theaters, I think, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, they're the biggest theater chain in the U.S.
Yes.
Just to know that they're crumbling and falling apart, it's just like, man, that's crazy. But it just kind of goes into even a deeper and bigger conversation in regards to just the theater chains as a business versus where we're at with streaming, Netflix, HBO, Hulu, Disney Plus. And it's just like those conversations about them buying theaters and, having big shows like a Stranger Things, having a series finale at a Netflix theater, or having a Mandalorian season 3 premiere at a Disney theater, and so on and so forth. So it's just it's a crazy time. And then again, I know theaters have been around forever. They survived the TV, black and white television, to color TV, to sports being bigger, to streaming.
That's a great point.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
They've survived, but they have never seen anything like streaming, because streaming has original content on their platform. They have Martin Scorsese's, they have, Noah Baumbach on the streaming platforms. They have Apple TV's having a Tom Hanks film on the streaming platform next week. So the competition is a lot different from what they're used to seeing. So we'll see how much, not only AMC, but just theaters in general, how much longer they're going to survive.
Yeah, it's a very interesting topic to discuss here. Ronald, what did you think? Are you an AMC guy or different?
I am just a movie theater guy. Every theater saying to me, wow, even though AMC does have the comfiest chairs, so I will always give them that. But
yes, they do. Yep.
My thing always is that, if y'all don't know anything about me, is that I used to work at a theater. I know about all that stuff about it. And the one thing that is, when I heard the news, is that I'm not surprised, because the one thing about these theater chains is that the bigwigs refuse to evolve, and the thing is that streaming coming and growing, especially this year alone, they still see it as a threat, and they're like, no, we're going to stay in our way. We're going to stay in our lane. And the problem with that is that you're refusing to go with evolution, and you're going to be left behind. And those two, even if they reopen up, there's so many factors into everything. Now that we're trying to live in this new world that we are, how in the world are you going to get people to be together? Because you don't have to worry about the movies coming in. It's the people. Because the new rules that we said that they're coming with wearing a mask, some people will not want to do that. Okay, some people come with attitude and be like, I can't breathe. I don't want to do that. Some people are not going to want to do that. And they make their money off concession. So how many people, because before this, people did not bring their food a lot. Okay, they snuck in food. That's the truth. So everything with this, I see nothing but more problems. And in my opinion, I think some theaters will go disappear. Some will try to evolve with themselves, maybe put some streaming stuff in their theaters. The big blockbuster ones, I think, will always be there because people want to experience the theater, the theater experience in general.
Yeah.
But I think it will fall under eventually.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, Colin. You. We talked about this a little bit. You know, the AMC drama and all that. The theaters. Just yeah. Would you want to see Tenet in a drive-by theater? No, I don't want to do that.
I wouldn't because I have my closest drive-in theater is 2 hours away from my house, so I definitely don't want to do that.
No.
And I'm a big AMC guy because I had A-list just like Elliott did and stuff, and I think to me A-list was one of the best things to happen to movie fans in a while because as soon as I got it, I think like the week I got it, I think I saw like The Farewell, which I don't know if I would have saw if I didn't, because then it's if I'm seeing $10-12 a movie or whatever, then I'll probably see like the bigger ones like Spider-Man, Avengers, Tenet, whatever, and so I was able to see like a lot of smaller films. The Peanut Butter Falcon last year is a good example. Uncut Gems, which was like my favorite movie. Little Women, movies I would never see. Like Little Women ended up being my favorite movie last year, and that because of the marketing of that movie, I'm not the target audience, but I was like, I got nothing to do. It's basically free, so I was doing that. So it breaks my heart that the theater chain I go to the most is, of course, in the most financial trouble. There's rumors here and there that like Amazon might be looking to like buy AMC. Some people are like, what does Amazon know about buying a movie studio or a movie theater company or running a movie theater company? Well, the answer would be nothing. But basically what they would do is just fund it and then let AMC take care of the rest. They know how to do it. So I think it could be a cool idea. And the reason why I think they'd be interested in doing it is a lot of times these movie theaters are so big and grand and like they fit the theaters in there, obviously, but they have so much like extra storage space too that Amazon can use as like headquarters and like office space for like, I don't know, whatever they need to hold their storage, I guess. I don't know. And so that'd be kind of cool. And I have 2 AMCs kind of like near my house. One of them's got the IMAX theater. And as far as
mine doesn't.
Yeah. I got, and then they got super comfy chairs, like you said, Ronald. So it just, and speaking of movie theaters getting out of business, I live on the East Coast of Florida. So there's not going to be there's not a whole lot of chain stuff. It's a lot of local things because it's like on the beach, like that's kind of what this community supports mostly. Like whenever there's like a chain restaurant or something, it doesn't do very well because they like the local stuff. And we had a movie theater that was in business for like 70 years, and it went out of business like shortly after Endgame came out. And I think that was kind of telling for them because Endgame's like the biggest movie of all time, and it didn't make a lot of money at their theater. So it was just that kind of breaks my heart too because I have so many memories going there. Apparently, a bigger chain bought it, but it wasn't AMC. I wish it was AMC, but man, bums me out.
Yeah, this is big news. The AMC that I live near is like an hour, 2 hours away, but I go to a different theater, but it's also a big theater chain, like in the New England area, but it's not worldwide theater chain. But yeah, this is huge news, for AMC because it's the biggest theater chain in the United States, and we got these big blockbusters with Tenet and Mulan.
Well, I will say, I forgot to mention that they did tweet yesterday.
Yeah, they did. AMC.
They did tweet that yesterday. They're
6 weeks.
I thought that was just
come on now. I'm doing that to the people. Come on.
They're either trolling super hard. Either way, they're either trolling. Yeah,
they're stroking the ego right now. They're saving them.
They're either trolling that this was all made up, we're fine, or they're trolling that that's actually going to happen. I don't know which it is.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. So this is huge news because I want something good. I want to see this movie so bad, man. Like Tenet, like the movie looks great and all that, and I just don't want to see this movie in a drive-in theater or on a streaming service at home. Like this was a theater experience, man. I miss going to the theater. Like this is crazy. Like we haven't been to the theater in like 2 months or 3 months, and
It's
pretty wild. And
very smooth.
Very smooth.
I will say though, not to play devil's advocate, but I will say something I always think about when it comes to, obviously we grown, we see in-game. I couldn't imagine seeing in-game on an iPad or on an airplane or something of that nature. But I always think about some of my favorite films of all time. 76 Star Wars, 78 Halloween, the list goes, Jurassic Park, some of my favorite movies of all time. I saw those films for the first time on my television versus on a big screen, but I still appreciated the film. Obviously, my experience would have been different. I saw them in the theater, but I always think about how this generation, how they're watching movies these days, especially in the COVID-19, they're experiencing films for the first time on their iPads, on their phones. And again, it just goes back to the conversation of Ron talking about evolution, and even Colin with Amazon bringing them in. I think it's going to be, if theaters want to stick around, they're going to have a symbiotic relationship where you're going to see Amazon premiering their films, at their own theater if they do buy out AMC and bringing it for bigger attention. But I just always think about my first time seeing some of The Matrix, Lord of the Rings, seeing those films the first time at home versus seeing it at the theater. So it's a different generation that people don't go to the theater, so it's a crazy thing to think of.
I remember. Obviously, I grew up watching Star Wars on like VHS or whatever, or like on cable. And I remember we had a fundraiser at my high school for like the track team or the swimming team, lacrosse. I don't know, whatever. Not football. I just know it wasn't football because we had plenty of money for that. But we did a fundraiser at the local theater, and we watched Star Wars. And like, if I'm being honest, like, there wasn't anything about it that was like, oh my God, I'm so glad I saw it on the big screen. Like, it was better for sure, but I wasn't like, oh, I had to do that. I think part of that is like the effects are, dated as much as I love A New Hope. But like Inception is like, that's just better on a theater. It just is. But I get what you're saying. I mean, like we care about it, but like, do our parents that my parents don't give a crap about the movie theater experience. You know how I know that? Because they don't go to the movies. They go, wait, what?
Really rare for them to go. It's something that they really want to see, but besides that, I'll just wait.
Yeah, my mom saw like she's always like, oh, I want to see Lion King or whatever. Like, never sees it. Like, the new Lion King. Yeah, and then but like it's funny. Like, my stepdad was in the military, so that's why I kind of let him go, because he doesn't like loud areas like that. Because for obvious reasons. So I think that's kind of why. But I was just like, that's things.
Yeah, my dad's a huge comic book reader, and he loves the Marvel movies. And the last time he went to the theater with us was with Endgame and Infinity War. Like, those are movies he had to see opening night. But if it's another Marvel movie, like a Spider-Man Far From Home or Ant and the Lost, he's like, I'll watch it at home. My mother as well. She's on her phone a lot in the movie theater, so I'm like, no, I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah, I saw the last movie I saw with my mom was Wonder Woman. My girlfriend and I went with my mom and my stepdad, and we saw Wonder Woman, and they annoyed the living crap out of me. I was like, I don't even want you to go to the movie because so
yeah. So yeah, man, this is crazy. I want to see Tenet really bad. Mulan, yeah, I'm fine if that gets delayed, but I'm excited for it. but just give me Tenet right now. All right, so now let's talk about interesting movie news here. It comes from Ari Aster, who directed Hereditary and Midsommar. Very divisive, controversial movies altogether. He has announced that his new film is going to be a 4-hour-long nightmare comedy. This is crazy. This is big. So overall, Ari Aster, he's a great director. I loved Hereditary. That movie was great. Midsommar, though, I was kind of divisive on that. But overall, this is exciting for me. I like Ari Aster. I think he's a great director overall. And Colin, what's your take on this overall? You've seen Hereditary and Midsommar.
Yeah, I'm actually not a fan of Ari Aster. I respect his craft because, like, he's a good director. I just it's just not for me. Like, I just watched something, even Hereditary, which I think is much better than Midsommar. Like, I even like the movie. There's something about him that I just I mean, this is his intent. That's the thing. But I just feel very gross after watching his movies. There's something about like
I don't think
there's something about seeing like old naked people and like that, and then just like episode title. Then just like people. It's just I don't know, man. He just doesn't work for me. I think he's trolling. This doesn't make any sense. I saw the other day. I'm doing a Judd Apatow marathon right now, leading up to King of Staten Island, which that's going to be my favorite movie of the year. I'm
calling it. It is.
That movie looks right up my alley. And I watched Funny People with Adam Sandler and Seth Rogen. The first 2 acts of that movie are brilliant. It's brilliant funny. Then it goes on way too long. Just goes right off the rails in the third act, like all Judd Apatow movies do. And that was a 2.5 hour long comedy. 2.5 hours. It was 2.5. So if it's a 4 hour movie, I basically hate it already. So yeah, I'm not a fan of Ari Aster. I hated Midsommar. I said this a million times. As soon as he gets in the bear, I was done. I hated it so much.
Oh
I was like,
God.
I was so.
It is 2.5 hours.
I was.
You're telling me a comedy is that long? Wow.
Yeah, I can't believe in that. Yeah, but yeah, not a fan of Ari Aster. I think he's a good director. He's just the way he likes to direct movies doesn't work for me. Elliott?
I'm on the complete opposite, man. I have Ari Aster in the same kind of vein and the same umbrella in regards to the next generation of horror directors: Ari Aster, Jordan Peele, Jennifer Kent, Robert Eggers. I think James Wan, Lee Whannell. I think those people are bringing in the next generation of horror. And I love Hereditary, Midsommar. I really, really enjoyed it. And I actually think he was, I think he was trolling because I think he knows that people knows his films are very divisive. So I think it was almost kind of like a Robert Pattinson comment about like, oh, Batman's not a superhero, or I'm not going to work out for, like, I think they're kind of aware of social media. So they're just kind of playing around. I highly doubt A24 is going to allow Ari Aster to have a 4-hour cut of a horror film going to the theater. I really highly doubt that. But I do believe that he will do a comedy kind of horror, because I think his 2 first films deal with kind of the crazy, outlandish kind of horror films.
Talking about like relationships and stuff.
Exactly.
And, there's something about Midsommar, like I said, I wasn't a big fan of it, but like I completely respected it. Like it's not like it was an extremely well made movie, but there was something.
Lawrence Pugh was great in it.
It was fun. Something about that it was ironically hilarious at some point too, because it's like this empowerment of like a woman kind of dealing with like a toxic relationship, and I could see certain people seeing the end and think like, wow, that was great, especially like women, honestly, like that was awesome. Like
I mean, and that's where going back to his, Hereditary deals with grief, and then and family trauma, and obviously your family genes, and what you're exposed, expectations, things of that nature. And then just like you said, Colin, with Midsommar, it's in a funny way, it's a romantic. It's a rom-com, a dark comedy. It's a dark romantic comedy in regards to the relationship and them breaking up and self-dependency and all that stuff. So I can see how his next film is going to still go on tropes that we're familiar with, but then obviously putting his crazy spin to it. So I'm a fan of Ari Aster. I doubt that'll be a 4-hour cut, but I'm looking forward to see it. And then I would love to cast Toni Collette and Florence Pugh, and maybe being a mother-daughter combo or sister combo. Get them 2 on the big screen. And bring some Ari Aster back. Any
movie with a mom has to be either Laura Dern or Judd Apatow's wife. That's the rules. I don't make the rules.
Yeah, Toni Collette was robbed from an Oscar nomination.
Oh yeah,
she was great. One of the best horror performances of the past decade. So, Ronald, what's your take on this overall?
Let me tell y'all something right now. Okay, look here. I don't give 2 banana cream pies about horror. Okay, I would rather grab a pillow and happen every side of it. But here's the thing, though. It took me years to watch Hereditary. Okay, I didn't watch it in theaters. I just didn't have the time. So I finally watched it because I heard all the hype about it. And let me tell you, it freaked me out. All right, I've never been that scared to watch a film, and I really respect that about this film. I really do. Then I saw Midsommar. I heard everyone talking about it. So first of all, the trailer got me. The trailer got me really good. So I was like, okay, I'll check it out. When it was over, I literally stayed in my seat. Cause I was just like, It's that kind of movie. It's a movie that to this day I have not gotten to rewatch it again, but it's one of those experiences that like you're glad you saw it, but you're just like, man, this director, I would never want to dive into his mind, because if he just has a piece of paper and a pen and you tell him to make something, he will dive into a world that will make you just scream. So for him, I agree with Elliott. It sounds like he's trolling everybody. And that's completely fine.
Like, yeah,
you can do what you want. I'm cool with that. Am I cool with him doing that? Sure. Go nuts. I'll probably won't watch you. I'll probably wait till you drop it on streaming so then I can take breaks to watch it. But as a whole, please, sir, be nice to your fans. Don't do that to them.
Yeah, this is kind of like Darren Aronofsky with the mother. Just the mind, just making these types of movies.
I haven't seen Mother. I heard it's controversial.
Oh, watch that movie. It's an experience.
Yeah.
You like it, you don't like it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But like the thing is, that's what I respect about Ari Aster is he makes movies knowing maybe at most 60% of the audience is gonna like it.
Yeah.
And then maybe the majority of cinephiles will like it, and that's what makes him happy.
Yeah, that's true.
The theater experience I had, there's this one scene, it's near the climax of the movie. It's like the most shocking thing I've ever seen. It happens on the screen. This couple sitting in front of me, they were like, peace out, bye-bye.
Yeah. That's a lot of these theaters.
It's a wild
yeah, it's really good. So overall, I loved Hereditary. That was one of my favorite films of 2018. Toni Collette robbed one of the most creepiest horror films I've seen in a while. But then you go,
that little girl, man.
oh God, the pole! Don't remind me.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. So Midsommar, I was kind of on the fence about. There's things I liked about it, things I didn't like about it. Just I don't know, the characters and the story all around didn't really work for me like it did with Hereditary. But I appreciated the craft, the cinematography, and the boldness that Ari Aster had making that. And I really respect him as a horror filmmaker. And I definitely agree with Elliott. He's up there with Jordan Peele and Robert Eggers. I love Robert Eggers. Love The Lighthouse and The Witch. Sorry, Colin. But I just really respect someone who takes their own vision and makes it his own thing. And someone with a creative mind. That's something we need more of in the horror genre. And this 4 hour long thing, I don't believe it, but it's just something they teased. But would something like A24 allow this? No. But I'm always into originality.
I think A24 would allow that because they give
a 4 hour long.
They give their directors so much freedom,
free reign. Yeah,
director's cut.
I mean, Ari Aster is he's the Zack Snyder of the horror realm. We got to release the Aster cut.
Yeah, they gave him a director's cut for Midsommar.
How was the director's cut, Elliott? Did you end up seeing it?
For Midsommar?
Midsommar?
Yeah.
Midsommar.
I haven't. It's like 3 hours long. No, I actually own the movie, and it's so funny. It is so funny because Ron brought it up. I have yet to revisit both the Hereditary and Midsommar. I'm actually doing a watch along for those in the next coming weeks, but I really, really enjoy those movies, but there's something they just mess with me mentally, especially Hereditary. So I haven't revisited neither one of those films, and I enjoyed them since I saw them in the theater. So it's a really weird situation with those two films. So I know, to answer your question, I have yet to see the actual 3 hour cut that he released earlier last year.
Yeah, actually, I think my buddy Zach Pope, he got the Blu-ray from France, so it's
that's one of those interesting movies. It's like a lot of times director cuts are made for you if you kind of weren't sold on the movie, like the Snyder Cut, for example. Right. But I feel like Midsommar, whatever. Its director's cut is solely for only people that just want more of the movie. Because there's no way if you didn't like the movie, you're gonna watch the director's cut.
Right.
The only director's cut that really works for me are Ridley Scott's director's cuts, except for Blade Runner. I think Blade Runner's overrated. Maybe it was the final cut's the best one, not the director's cut. Like I don't care. The director's cuts for both Alien and Aliens are really good. Really good. Watch those ones. But when it comes to this whole 4 hour long comedy thing, like it's not going to be 4 hours, I don't think. But I'm always into originality, like I said, and Ari Aster he's a very creative director, and I'm looking forward to seeing who we cast. I'd love to see like Toni Collette, Florence Pugh again. That'd be really great. Yeah. And just, bring in the comedy as well as the horror. I love horror comedies. They're some of my favorites in the genre.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to this. All right, so now let's talk, since I was just talking about Ridley Scott, that's another thing we're going to be talking about. He's spoken about his thoughts on the future Alien movies, and he wants to evolve the Alien franchise all around, whether it's making more Prometheus movies or not, or making an Alien 5, which many people want to see. And it's just cool to see, Ridley Scott wanted to explore, go back into the Alien franchise and do it justice, after Alien Covenant, which I'm a fan of. I do like that movie, but I want to get your guys' thoughts on the Alien franchise all around, starting with Colin.
This is really cool news for me because I feel like some people who maybe grew up watching it or watched it when it, or older and watched it when it first came out or something, they might be burnt out on it, or they're kind of burned by the later films, because I know there's been some not really controversy, but it's not as well regarded as some of the earlier films. But I've never really I've seen bits and parts, but I've never really seen much of the Alien franchise at all. And what excites me about now that I have a YouTube channel is a lot of times franchises are so popular now, remakes are so popular, sequels are so popular. I'm not even rushing to watch it yet because of news like this. So now I can binge all the movies, and then even something like David Fincher is coming out with a new movie, and he did what's it called again?
The Citizen Kane movie.
You need
to watch that movie, Colin.
Yeah, and he did Alien 3, which I haven't seen, but I'm not gonna just randomly watch Alien 3, so I have to watch Alien 1 and 2, and then so there's reasons for me to watch this soon, this franchise soon. So this excites me. This excites me. I don't know. I mean, I'm interested to hear you guys' thoughts about the most recent films and if you guys are burned out from the franchise or not.
Ronald.
Well, to add on to that, I've never seen the original Aliens because it just never. Even when I was younger, it just passed by me, and then all my friends have. I just never did. But I did see the recent ones, Prometheus and the Covenant.
Alien Covenant. Yeah,
I've watched all of those with my friends, and I felt the same when I watched it. I was just more I guess I kept feeling, is this what everyone was talking about with the aliens? I mean, my friends always say, no, you don't get it. The original ones, they're awesome. These two, no, come on, give it time. Mm-hmm. I just couldn't connect with it. Maybe it's not for me. Maybe it's just something that won't click with me. That's fine. There's no film franchise made for everybody. But if they will make an Alien 5? Is that how far we're gonna go with this thing?
Yeah, Neil Blomkamp.
maybe they'll make me want to say, all right, you know what? I'll rewatch the originals. Maybe they'll give a different spade in my mind, and then I'll watch the newest one. So if they want to, but that's the best thing about evolving. If you understand that, we want to go in a different direction, but also get newer fans to come into the franchise. That's good. That says that you're getting it and you want to grow yourself. So I'm completely on with that. That's true.
Yeah. The Alien movies have a huge fan base, but there are those people that haven't gotten into them. So you're definitely.
Elliott, have you seen much of it, Elliott?
Yeah, I'm a big Aliens fan. I have the box set of 1 through 4, and not the biggest fan. Yes, I love it. David Fincher, obviously, if you guys are familiar with the situation, it was one of those situations where the studios really, really got into Alien 3 and really messed up things.
It's the only David Fincher movie I haven't seen. He's my favorite.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's his first film. If I'm not mistaken, so
the first film.
It was a lot of.
I was say the reason I haven't seen it is because he said it doesn't even count because it wasn't really his movie. But go ahead and continue.
Yeah. It really, not to spoil anything, it retcons a lot of what happened with Aliens, and a lot of fans like me were very upset at what happened in 3, and that should get you excited because there's some stuff that he does that it was almost like the Last Jedi of the Star Wars universe. What happened in Aliens 3?
Hey, Rian Johnson and David Fincher look a little bit alike. So
they do. Maybe related. But in Aliens 4, Aliens Resurrection, which was actually written by Joss Whedon, that is a film that I do not like at all. But Alien and Aliens, two of my favorite films. Ridley Scott, straight up horror film, and then obviously Aliens with James Cameron is an action horror, great. And then mix it into the new franchise. I'm actually a fan of Prometheus, and I like Alien Covenant for what it is. And Ridley Scott saying what he said recently, I think he's really confused on what they want to do with the franchise, because obviously I don't know if Disney wants to adapt. I don't know where they want to go with it. If they want to do Neil Blomkamp and do the fifth one that a lot of people are waiting for, or if they want to do I think it was Aliens Awakening, which is supposed to wrap up his kind of 5-arc film and kind of lead into Alien. But yeah, go ahead.
So I was gonna say, what is Alien versus Predator then? Is that a part of the universe? Do I watch those movies if I'm binging? Like, how does this work?
I wouldn't. It doesn't hurt nor help like the franchise of either Predator or Aliens. It's one of those. It's kind of like a Freddy versus Jason thing, where it's just like it was just a fun thing to finally. And they have 2 films, and actually the second one worked a lot better than the first one. But they really, if you're a fan, you should check them out. But they don't really tie into the greater universe and the aliens, because a lot of the mythology doesn't really play into those 2.
So are you an Alien guy or an Aliens? Because I know there's like a debate on which one's better.
Alien.
I appreciate them for what they both are, but for me, the action horror was so well done. The sci-fi elements with James Cameron in the second one, and again, the first one is a straight up horror film. But what James Cameron did with the franchise, and again, a lot of people sleep on James Cameron and what he's able to do with films and sequels, or something that he's great at. So when everyone's bashing on the Avatar, remember he made Aliens, which is a great sequel. T2, which is a great sequel. The guy knows what he's doing when it comes to sequels. So I'm an Aliens fan, but I still respect and love what Ridley Scott did with the original Alien.
Sweet. Thanks for all the info. That's why we got
it's worth checking out, man. It's a great franchise. I know some people are getting fatigued with it, just like I'm actually fatigued with the Predator franchise. Like I can go years and years without seeing another Predators film, but Aliens, and I won't be surprised too with the future. What if we get an Aliens television series, which I think would be really interesting, especially with the Disney acquisition? They might pull an Alien show on Hulu, which would be pretty interesting. So that's something I would really like to explore.
Yeah, so I am the first 2 Alien movies are some of my favorite movies of all time. I'm an Alien guy. I love Ridley Scott's direction. The characters, Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, just one of the best performances in female action stars and horror performances, and just Ridley Scott's world that he created. And then Aliens, James Cameron made a phenomenal action sequel, just so great. And then you dive down into the below with David Fincher. That wasn't his fault, I don't think. It's just the studio interference with Alien 3. And then Resurrection, I didn't see Resurrection. I didn't care. And then I also saw Prometheus and Alien Covenant. I wasn't a big Prometheus fan, if I'm being honest. And Alien Covenant I actually did enjoy. I saw that opening week in theaters. And the thing is, I haven't gone back and revisited them. But, since hopefully we'll get another Alien movie coming out. And since Disney owns the rights to the Alien franchise, we do get one. But I don't have the box set for Alien. I just have them all on singular. But I really like the steelbook for Alien Covenant. But
nice.
Yeah, but overall, really enjoy the first 2 Alien movies. But if we get a new one, hopefully, if they go into the Prometheus route, then I'd be down and interested to see it. Or if they go back to an Alien 5. If Neil Blomkamp doesn't do it, I love to see Dan Trachtenberg directed 10 Cloverfield Lane. That movie is so good. I'd love to see him tackle an Alien movie because he can do it. I love him as a filmmaker. Overall, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the Alien franchise in the universe. All right, so now let's talk about some Disney Plus stuff and with some Marvel TV shows, Falcon and the Winter Soldier and WandaVision. Now, WandaVision is apparently going back to reshoots and filming in July, and we also got news that Evan Peters is going to be joining the cast. Quicksilver.
Yeah.
It's great. Really good. And Falcon and the Winter Soldier as well. There's a lot of talks that it's going to be split into 2 parts with the COVID-19 situation. And so a lot of people are debating back and forth which option they like better. Should they see it as a whole or the 2 parts, whichever works best? Overall, let's talk about our thoughts and anticipation on Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision and all that. Elliott, let's start with you, man.
I cannot wait for this to drop, guys. Like this is history in a minute. We obviously know Kevin Feige. We're living in history because we're never going to see this be replicated again in regards to what Marvel's did with their 22, 23 films and everything connecting and everything, everyone universally loving these films. So the fact that we're now going to see for the first time that I can think of in TV and movie history, Disney is Marvel, Kevin Feige is really pulling the reins saying that, hey guys, you're going to now, and I know some people aren't a fan of it, but they're not requiring, but they're now going to push it where if you don't watch the shows, you might not understand what's happening in Doctor Strange 2. You might not understand what's happening in a future Marvel film and Shang-Chi or the Eternals because you didn't watch the show. But I also think it's smart because it's almost like, the comic book fans, right? If you saw Endgame and Winter Soldier and all the big moments in Marvel, you might not necessarily have to be a comic book fan to understand some of the references, but if you are a comic book fan,
deeper appreciation.
Exactly. So that's what I kind of see the TV the symbiotic relationship between the TV and the movies, where we're going to be like, oh, that was the character from WandaVision or this, that, and the other. But I think it's going to be a little bit more integral because, again, we're getting these movie characters that, we're going to get She-Hulk having her first show, and then she's going to go into the movie. Same with Moonlight and things of that nature. So to answer your initial question in regards to this being, split up, I'm not a fan of that idea, though. If they do, which is WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, I cannot wait for them. But I can't imagine in my head that they cut it in a way that they shot those episodes that it was meant to take a break between episode 4 ends on a cliffhanger, and then we got to wait 6 months or 7 months to see the follow-up to it. And then plus we know how everything's interconnected. So it would be like if we saw the first half of Winter Soldier, well, what if it was a tie-in to Black Widow, and then we got to wait 7 months to know what that connective tissue was? To me, again, Kevin Feige knows and they have it all mapped out, but I don't like the idea of it being split into two halves because I think it's going to kind of be jarring and kind of mess with the flow of the storytelling.
Yeah, with something like Breaking Bad, I didn't watch the show back then, but I feel bad for those people that had to wait a whole year when Hank is sitting on that toilet. Yeah, I can't even imagine that. But yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy. Before we get to my thoughts, Ronald.
Look here. I've said it once. I'll say it 1,000 times more if I gotta yell to the clouds. I cannot wait for WandaVision. All right, that's my show to watch. Okay, I've always said Scarlet Witch is the one. Okay, she's the most underappreciated character, and
watch my video.
Yeah, you know that. She's the character that has so much potential to be more. So, like, this show is everything, and when I read the synopsis, it's everything I wanted. So, but with that, every studio's going to do that. What can we do to gain more from this if we split it? So it gives us more time. While it may 100% interrupt with the flow. For them, they're like, look, now you got to stay with us. Because I know some people might be like, look, I just want to watch these shows and I'll bounce out of here. But then they're going to be like, oh, you better come. Look, you don't understand, all right? You better come back for this because you're going to miss something really good. So I personally would just want them all here so I can watch them and then just experience it, just like Elliott said, because the connections of it from the movies. But I get it. Doesn't mean I like it, but I get it. But, man, y'all, when they drop it, I'm going to just tell everyone, don't talk to me no more because I'm going to be going and locked into these stream service 110%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited too. Colin, overall?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like what you said about like DC is a good example. They went separate. They do all their stuff on CW, and the reason why I never gave a crap about one at CW is all their stuff's always been a little bit more cheesy to me. So just like inherently, that's why I was gravitated more towards like Daredevil and stuff because it went a more darker route. And I just I don't know, I watched The Flash and I was like, I could get why people like this, but it's just a little too, I guess, maybe self-aware, honestly. That's kind of a good thing in certain ways, but I just wanted it to take itself a little bit more seriously. But and I think another reason I'm not a big fan of it too, or got into it, was because I don't like that there's two Superman and two Batman and two Flash. Continuity, schmontinuity,
yeah.
I don't know. It's just this thing with the MCU. And what Elliott was saying too is I think it's going to be not essential for you to watch these shows. You're just going to appreciate it more. When a character pops up, people are going to be like, oh, that's cool. That's a cool introduction to this character. And people be like, oh, we know that or whatever. And then what happens when you're in a big movie theater and you see someone freak out and you be like, wait, what? Now I got to go watch that show.
FOMO, fear of FOMO.
Yeah, it brings it back. I'm trying to think of like examples like that of stuff that's, I mean, for example, when Thanos got introduced to the MCU and he did in Avengers, but in Guardians of the Galaxy, and I'm like finding out, okay, this whole Infinity Stone thing. I read the Infinity Stone comics, so kind of like how you were saying with that. So I read not Infinity Stone, Infinity Wars comics, Infinity Gauntlet and stuff. So similar type vibe as far as it getting split up into two different parts. Yeah, I don't know if I'd love that. I mean, theoretically, it makes sense for them because we've talked about how it needs to in previous podcasts how these shows need to fit in and come out in a certain place and time to set up other storylines with the movies and then all that stuff. So for the sake of the show, they might need to release it at least the first half because that's done in production or whatever because of what's going on in the world. But as like the fan in me, I'd rather just wait to watch all of it. But I don't know. Yeah, it would just be a huge bummer to have to like only watch 4. I mean, I don't know how many episodes it's going to be. I mean, if we're talking like, oh, this is going to be 12 episodes, maybe getting 6 episodes and waiting a couple months wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Because one thing we're not thinking about is because they basically have a certain amount of time plus that 6 weeks of the first half of the season to finish the rest of the season too. So maybe it'd be closer than we might be thinking. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting news though.
I'm so pumped for Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah.
I love Sam Wilson, love Bucky Barnes, love just the Captain America lore, love the ending to Endgame. That is just like the perfect ending, for Captain America's storyline, handing the shield over to Sam. And
who should it have went to though? What do you guys think? Should have been Sam or Bucky who got the shield?
I predicted Bucky, but it's Sam. Like Sam, I'm excited to see what Sam does. I think he'll do a great job. I'm just interested in the lore of what Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to bring. You obviously have just the storyline, the government obviously not accepting Sam Wilson as the new Captain America, and then you get Kurt Russell's son in there. What's his name again?
Wyatt Russell.
Wyatt Russell in there. I love Wyatt Russell. I think he's a really underrated actor in there.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see just that whole storyline. Daniel Bruhl back as Zemo. He's going to wear the purple mask from the comics.
Fans are happy about that.
Zemo, very underrated MCU villain. And just I'm interested in the riff-raff and stuff going on there. And then WandaVision as well, bringing in adult Monica Rambeau as well. Mm-hmm. You get Scarlet Witch in the iconic comic costume. And then you get just the whole trippy universe of what they're going to bring into these TV shows. Like this is just perfect for us movie watchers as well, because we're obviously going to watch the Disney Plus shows as well as the movies. And this is going to encourage the general movie audience to really get experienced into the shows as well as the movies. Because like Elliott said, they're going to be really confused watching the movie. Like, you didn't watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier. What happened here?
Dare you?
WandaVision.
And let's be honest, most of the people that love the MCU on like a deeper level, like basically us, we already gonna watch the show. But then a lot of these people that wouldn't know about these shows are probably gonna be like parents and stuff like that. They're older, but then they're gonna get it because they're kids anyway. Because Disney Plus, it's just like a no-brainer to watch the show, even if you like the MCU just a little bit. Yeah, you know what I mean.
And I know, Colin, you brought up you asked a question in regards to the Bucky and Falcon, who should get it. I actually think it was logically speaking, it made sense that Sam got it because they obviously Bucky and Cap have a relationship, and that was Cap, that was his best friend, that was his best friend number 2. But logically speaking, Bucky is a criminal. We got to remember the courts, the Sokovia Accords. He was, a criminal for a while, and we still haven't figured it out, which I'm so excited to explore this aspect of Marvel. There's a lot of criminals still out there, according to Accords. Obviously, we know what happened with Spider-Man and everyone that was on Cap's side. I just wonder, is this the phase 4 of the MCU people at court?
Lawyers.
Court. Yeah, we're going to have
talking about lawyers. Yeah.
Daredevil is going to be defending people. Jennifer, She-Hulk is a lawyer. It's going to be a procedural.
Charlie Cox come out there. What's up, guys?
Law and Order MCU edition. I can't wait to see.
Robert Downey Jr. is going to come back from the judge.
Yeah. Oh my God.
There you go. Yeah, that's his cameo. There's Iron Man's cameo.
The reason I love like Winter Soldier and the Civil War, and then even to a certain extent, this movie is not great, but even the beginning of Iron Man 2 is the political intrigue.
Yeah.
I like by default, and I actually just watched Iron Man 2 for my MCU rewatch. By default, like the political aspect of a superhero movie, I just enjoy. That's why The Dark Knight's got it, kind of has some questions about that, and especially Winter Soldier about like the government and whatever. And so like Winter Soldier, if it has or Falcon and Winter Soldier has any inkling of that, I'm really gonna dig it.
And I think they will, man. And I think you just brought up Iron Man 2. I think that's where we're going to see Justin Hammer make another appearance and make, because he's still out there. Yeah. But what I love that Ryan brought up in regards to the kind of the topical issue with Sam being black and him being embracing the Captain America mantle. How is America going to take a black Captain America? I think that's something they're going to explore, which I can't wait for. And also, we can't remember, you brought up Wyatt Russell earlier. He's a Captain America, so that serum is still out there in regards to super soldier serum. So that opens the door to who else is being experimented on and who else has been in this program, which kind of leads into X-Men, Weapon X and Winter,
so many places.
You like the set photos? Yes. You like those set photos, Elliott? Wyatt Russell?
Yeah. It's gonna open the door for a lot of stuff. So I can't wait for these shows.
Yeah, even that feels political too. Like it kind of reminds you of the first Captain America when he was just a symbol of Captain America, and now it's what Wyatt Russell's character is going to do. It's be a symbol for Captain America, but and it's going to ask questions of like, what does the term Captain America mean? What does that symbol mean? Is it the person inside of you, or is it the uniform, or is it the shield? And
exactly.
I like that.
I think the Accords are just beginning. Phase 4 is going to be the Accords universe.
Civil War isn't over yet. There's a sequel to Civil War.
Come back, of course. We're going to see. I love to see. I think we are going to see Justin Hammer return. Sam Rockwell at some point.
You can't just have Sam Rockwell just make one appearance and Sam Rockwell's great.
Come on, you got the money. Let's do this.
Let's do this, man. So yeah, I cannot wait for these shows. If they release them in 2 parts, we'll just have to deal with it. I'm just more excited for The Mandalorian, obviously.
Oh, I can't wait for that. And I forgot you answered a question earlier, Ryan, in regards to, I guess, Evan Peters. Is he going to be Quicksilver in this multiverse? Is he Doctor Strange villain? Who is Evan Peters? Which, by the way, I love Evan Peters. I don't know if you guys watch American Horror Story, but I love all his appearances in those shows. I think he's a great actor. But Evan Peters, is he Quicksilver? Is he going to be back as Quicksilver in this multiverse?
Aaron Taylor Johnson going to pop again? I don't know. We'll see. Yeah.
Crazy.
But yeah, I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Marvel's definitely going to shock us no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so that does it for the movie news, gentlemen. As I said, very short for movie news. I just want to dive into our fun topics we do every single week. Underrated and overrated movie picks of the week. So what we do every single week, me and Colin, obviously, and the guests, we pick an underrated movie and an overrated movie in our opinion, and we just find out each other's picks. We can either get mad or agree or whatever, whatnot. That's what the fun part is about this. So for underrated and overrated, I guess we'll have Colin kick this off first.
Oh, I hate being the first one. I hate just being the center of controversy. So we're doing overrated first?
All right, let's do overrated first.
Okay, let's just do it. So as you guys know, I mentioned it earlier, I'm doing a Judd Apatow rewatch. And this movie is like maybe his most popular movie, and it's one that kicked it off. It's a 40-Year-Old Virgin. I watched it with anticipation that I had seen it before, and I remember enjoying it. But like all his movies are too long, and there's something about Judd Apatow that's so frustrating as a filmmaker because he does so much right, and I think he's inherently a very intelligent filmmaker, and he makes comedies that some people wouldn't dare to make, like more thought-provoking stuff. And it was fine. I mean, it's like 3. I would recommend it. It's 3 out of 5 stars, B-, something like that. 6.5 out of 10. But it's like It felt, I guess, so part of its time, like early 2000s, and I think that jokes just work then, and they don't work as well now. But the great thing is you got the cast that's great in the film, and they're fun and stuff. But I don't know. I'd be interested to hear because the movie is it's early 2000s, so 2005. It came out like 15 years ago, so I have no idea if this still holds up for people. I think Knocked Up is far and away his best movie. I think Knocked Up is brilliant and really funny, and it actually earns its runtime of around 2 hours. But yeah, I got burnt out by the end. But the cast is good, and it's got some funny bits to it. You guys' thoughts on the movie?
It's been a while since I revisited 40-year-old version, but I think something you point on, Colin, is, and that's something I think inherently is with comedies, is that they are sometimes gift or curse. They're just meant for their time, and some of the jokes aren't relevant today. Some of the jokes aren't appropriate today, and especially today's culture. I can definitely, I'll have to revisit it. But I remember that it's one of my, when I did see it, I remember loving it. And Steve, that was my first time being exposed to Steve Carell, and I'm a big Office fan, so seeing him in that film. But yeah, I'll have to revisit it. But I couldn't agree with you more, Colin. Judd Apatow, great director, but I always feel like, and that's what actually got me nervous about Staten Island, King Staten Island next week is. His films do the first half, really great comedy. Second half dives into the drama and mixes the comedy and drama. But then the third acts are just like, what is going on?
Funny People was like literally one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
Yep.
And then the third act just completely fell apart. Ronald, your thoughts on the movie though?
Look here, okay. I need you to wash your mouth before your bird. Okay, you gotta slow that roll, okay. Look, I'm not a raunchy film guy. Anybody that knows me is that I don't do the raunchy. It's not my style. But my friends always do. So when I watch it with them, maybe I like it, maybe I won't. 40-year-old version, I love that movie. Yeah, that movie is so funny, and yeah, 100%. It is dated. It is on its time. If anyone tries to watch some of these movies now, it's like super bad too. You're gonna look at it. You're gonna be like,
yeah, Superbad's timeless.
Yeah, I would say Superbad is my favorite comedy of all time.
But 40-Year-Old Virgin is a film that I can never, ever not stop myself from watching it because I appreciate everything that it gives me, and then when it's over, I always leave with a smile. And that's what with comedy. If you make me just smile at the end, I'm like, all right, you won me over.
The thing is with comedies, they could virtually do almost everything wrong but be funny. Like a movie I really liked that wasn't received well was Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. The movie's not a well-made movie, but it was funny.
Oh my God.
But it was funny. To me, it was funny. So I don't know. But Ryan, did you have any final thoughts before we go to the next person?
Yeah, just like Elliott, I need to revisit 40-year-old version. I definitely will this week leading up to King of Staten Island. Judd Apatow is a filmmaker. He's very good as well. And I need to revisit some of his films. All right, so let's get to
I don't want your big box of porn, Andy.
That part of the funniest joke in the entire movie was when Paul Rudd was in there and he was like, "It's like you don't jerk off." He's like, "Yeah, dude, I've already done it twice in the room already." That was funny. That was the only part I was like started dying laughing. But that part, I was like,
There you go.
I'm actually gonna go last on Overrated because Colin knows what it is. Elliott.
This might be a hot take, and I think it's in the same vein as Colin in regards to dated in a certain extent. And this is a film that I just revisited maybe about a month and a half ago. Spider-Man 2. Ooh. I know it's revered to be one of the greatest superhero comic book movies of all time, and I still appreciate it to this day. Sam Raimi, Doc Ock, all that stuff. But that film I was watching, I'm just like, this is very, again, I love Sam Raimi's sensibilities of horror, especially Doc Ock scene with the operating thing. But I was watching, I'm just like, James Franco is like he's on another level with the drama stuff, and then like the jokes and stuff.
The crap out of
what is he? Is he in a date time? Like, is this a telenovela? Like, what is he like? I don't understand where James Franco like level was in that film.
Raindrops keep falling.
Yeah. I love that.
So again, I appreciate the film. I know what it did for the superhero genre, pushed it forward, but I think that film is very dated. It's very a part of its early 2000s birth of the superhero kind of where we're at now. I think it's compared to I love Spider-Man Homecoming. My favorite Spider-Man film is Into the Spider-Verse, but Love
Yeah.
Spider-Man. I do
Me too.
appreciate Spider-Man 2, but I think it is extremely overrated.
Oh my god, dude, you make me so
You
sad.
like the train scene?
Yeah,
Great moments. But I
Yeah.
think, like I said, when if just revisiting it, just didn't hit me the same way it did when it hit me,
Well,
in 2004 or whenever it came out.
I'm gonna contradict myself here because I literally just picked. I was like, it's so part of its time, so it didn't work. What, like, I think the reason why the Sam Raimi trilogy works for me so well, even the third one, is because it I like the cheesiness works. Like, it's something about it that we don't see with any other comic book movie too. And yeah, the second one is probably my third favorite comic book movie. I think I would go The Dark Knight, Endgame, and then Spider-Man 2. I mean, I completely get all your points. It's one of those things. It's just subjectivity, but it's like, yeah, man, it's just the action's good, and I love the idea of like someone's psyche and how he can literally lose confidence and like just And I'm pro adult Spider-Man. Like,
That's probably my issue.
Yeah,
I'm non-pro.
Yeah. So like, I was so excited for a teenage Peter Parker, and then we got it in Homecoming, and I just like, not for me. Like
Iron Man 4.
Yeah, Iron Man 4, and I just wanted, I just like the mature themes that the same Raimi. I just like the drama, the score. Danny Elfman's score is like one of the best comic book movies. Wonderful, so good.
Yes.
And it's not talked about enough. And yeah, I completely get your points. But yeah, Spider-Man 2 is one of my favorite movies of all time. But yeah, it's one of those things. Like I contradict myself. I literally just said that 40-year version is a part of its time, but this one I'm like, nah, it's fine.
So I don't know what's worse: The Breakfast Club, Mad Max Fury Road, or Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, I don't like Breakfast Club or the Mad. Well, I actually like Breakfast Club. I just think it's overrated. And then I actually don't
think
like
Breakfast Club's worse.
I don't like Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, I love Spider-Man 2. That's definitely my favorite of the Raimi trilogy. The first Spider-Man 2 I really loved. Spider-Man 3, if they took out Venom, then I would have loved it. But yeah, I just love the parts of Spider-Man 2 that really hit me the most is just the tales of growing up and accepting who you are as a superhero and just being responsible. Just the themes, the storylines hit me. Danny Elfman's score, the action, Doc Ock as a villain, and the train scene, just everything about that sequel is what I love in sequels. And I actually agree with Elliott. Spider-Verse is definitely my favorite Spider-Man movie. That movie is just brilliant. But Spider-Man 2, it's very iconic for me. And I definitely understand why you don't love it, Elliott. So, Ronald, what's your overrated?
Before I say it, I don't know. I think I'm in an alternate universe. Okay, I've never heard someone disrespect for Spider-Man 2. Okay, it breaks my heart to hear. I don't know what's going on. Okay, but I will say this. Now it's my turn, and I'm never shy to say this because I just never cared for them. All right, and I did something special with this. All right, I put them as a whole because I've tried to watch all of them, and the only ones I didn't watch were the originals because I never really had the time to watch them. But here it is. I ain't afraid to say it, y'all. I don't care about the Star Wars movies. Don't care. Hold yourselves back. Hold yourself back. It's the honest truth. Okay. Look, all the space love. Okay. All the lightsaber fun. All right. It's fun. It's cool. But everything else with it doesn't click with me. All right. I love the score. Okay, the score is probably my favorite thing about all these Star Wars movies. And from the original 3 movies that originally came out, I was more okay with them than the newest ones that came out. I like Rogue One the most out of all the new ones that came out so far. But I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like in a lot of these movies, I dozed off. Like I was like,
that's kind of like me with Lord of the Rings. Like Lord of the Rings never resonated with me the most, but like, yeah. So some people, I can see why, just because like the inherent nature of like sci-fi fantasy movies, like I can understand like Star Wars like wouldn't work for some people just the way same thing Lord of the Rings didn't really work for me.
No, exactly. You know, there's always gonna be franchises that you just can't get into. You know, you try. It's just not made for everybody. So while everyone will go down to Disney and love Star Wars World and dress up and all that fun jazz, people are gonna love Mandalorian, which I do too. Okay, I won't lie about that. Me, as for these movies, they can go somewhere and just sleep in the corner because I ain't gonna be watching them anytime soon.
Gotcha. Hot take.
Come on.
Hot take.
My favorite movie of all time, right, Colin?
Yeah, my favorite movie of all time is Empire Strikes Back. So.
Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, if I had a nickel every time I heard
if
that.
you fell asleep during Rise of Skywalker, I wouldn't be mad.
No, yeah, right.
That movie
Rise of Skywalker
sucks. That movie's awful, man. Actually, I respect you, Ronald, because you actually watch these movies, and my brother hasn't.
Yeah.
Get on the train. Get on it.
Get on it, Cody. Anyway, so let's get to my overrated pick. This comes as no shocker to anybody who watches my channel. I just reviewed this movie, and Colin had this as his most overrated in I think the first episode, actually. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yep.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I haven't seen this movie before, and everybody's saying this is Jim Carrey's best movie, best performance all around, and I've been very curious to check it out. I bought it on Blu-ray recently, and for my first time watch, I appreciated the film for what it was. Like the filmmaking, Jim Carrey's performance, Kate Winslet and Mark Ruffalo, Kirsten Dunst, who was also doing Spider-Man 2 at the time, but the film just didn't click with me on first watch. Like I didn't get the hype. I didn't get the love that everyone had for it. I appreciated the script from Charlie Kaufman. Just the story didn't really resonate with me. And I'm not a romance movie guy. That's probably my least favorite genre. And this one just didn't do it for me all around. It's just not for me. Just like you guys, Star Wars isn't for Ronald, for Colin as well. Mad Max isn't for him, and for Elliott as well. Spider-Man 2 just didn't work for him. There's just certain popular movies that don't work for people, and Eternal Sunshine is one of those movies for me, and some other movies as well. I do have some pretty controversial takes.
Appreciate it.
Have you guys seen it? Because I think
heard of it.
Yeah,
I've seen it. Heard of it.
What do you think,
I love
Elliott?
that score. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I always remember just being a big fan of the score, and I thought the performance between the two were great. And I think it is one of those timeless stories because we can all relate to being in a bad relationship and how that, how we think we have to stick with people and because of what we think. But no, I think it's a great film. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I always remember that score. I love that score, that the film, and the performance.
What's crazy is I was doing it to prepare for. I did a collab with somebody, and I was doing it to prepare for a video of the top 5 Jim Carrey movies, and it made the list by default because I was shocked in how many Jim Carrey movies I actually didn't like because I think he's got it's kind of like you have to have it like be in the mood for. And The Truman Show far and away is I think his best movie. It's not even close.
Yeah, I think so too.
And then Eternal Sunshine, it literally came in like number 3, but I wasn't even a fan of it. Like it was kind of funny, but I remember just thinking like it's extremely well made. It's really unique. But I was like, everything kind of felt jarring, I guess. I think it's one of those movies you do have to rewatch, I think. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. And now let's talk about our underrated choices. Colin?
So actually, this hardly ever happens, but I had picked my underrated pick for the week like earlier on, and then I watched a movie late last night, and I switched it to this one right here. And it was going to be, I'll give an honorable mention to Searching, which was that movie about where that was a great movie. And that was going to be it was going to be my
Searching.
pick.
It
was honorable mention because that was my pick. And then I watched The Town last night, directed by Ben Affleck.
We watched something Ben Affleck.
Yeah, and I'm going to go unpopular opinion here. I think it's better than Argo, which of course won Best Picture. I think.
I agree.
Yeah, I
agree with that. Yeah.
I think Argo, in certain sense, like I thought it was really great, but I think it just by the very nature of winning Best Picture, I think it by default would be kind of overrated in that sense. That's what happens when you win Best Picture. But The Town is so good. I think Affleck is, if not a better director than he is an actor, and it's just this story of these bank robbers that they fill in the right amount of bank robberies, but then have drama and even some romance with Rebecca Hall is in it too. And I guess I have a crush on her now. Oh my God. And yeah, she's great. And yeah, dude, and Jeremy Renner's in it. When is Jeremy Renner going to be like the leading man of a movie though? Because he's like always the sidekick and he's so good at it though.
Yeah. Well, Bourne Legacy.
Yeah, but say Bourne and Mission Impossible for a bit. He was supposed to be replacing Ethan Hunt. I think Hollywood wanted him to be the leading man. I mean, but I don't think he is.
Yeah.
Hawkeye is a perfect example of that as well. So.
Like fringed A-list, but like he's still like struggling, but he's great in the film. And then of course you got Ben Affleck and and then John Hamm, who he was the FBI agent obviously in Richard Jewell last year, and I think plays that role really well. So great
Blake
movie.
Lively, I thought Blake Lively was great in the film too.
Yeah, it played something completely different too, like kind of a was she a prostitute or something, or like
drugged up something? Yeah, she was.
Yeah. Great movie.
Definitely.
All right, Elliott, what's your underrated?
Well, I will if I can bend the rules. Since Robert did a trilogy of films with Star Wars, 3 films. I got 3 films that I want to kind of bring that I recently saw that I think doesn't get enough attention. They're more recent films. Last year's Waves. I was blown away. I just saw Waves for the first time about 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
I chose that for underrated.
Yeah, he's picked that before. Yeah,
it is a very underrated film. I think Calvin Harrison Jr. is a force to reckon with. I don't know if you guys watch Euphoria. He's going to be in season 2 in Euphoria. I can't wait to see him mix in with that crew of people. But yeah, Waves is a really very impressive film. I know some people don't like the second half, but I actually love the second half. And I'm a big Lucas Hedges fan, and the young lady that played his sister I thought was great. And Curly Sterling K. Brown was fantastic in that movie. But
the funny about Waves is like it's an A24 movie, which is already an underrated studio, and then that's underrated for its own.
That's crazy.
Yep.
To think
So it's like underrated for already underrated movies.
Exactly. And then my number 2 is another Calvin Harrison Jr. film, which I actually just watched for the first time about a week ago. Loose, with him and Octavia Spencer and Naomi Watts and Tim Roth. I thought that film was fantastic. I thought it was just a really, really well done film, and that film is actually on Hulu if you guys haven't seen it. And then a very, very, very small, underrated independent Spanish film, Manos, which is actually on Hulu as well. I don't want to give too much away. It's one of those films where you don't want to go in knowing anything. It just go on the ride, go on the journey. I'll just say it involves these kids that are like soldiers. They're on an island. They have to protect this kidnapped U.S. citizen that they're holding hostage. And you're just going on the ride. It is the most beautiful film I've seen in an extremely long time. The director slipped in my mind, the cinematographer, but Manos is one of the best films I've seen in a very long time, and it is gorgeous looking. Check it out. Like I said, it's on Hulu, and it is Manos. It's a fantastic independent international film.
Right on. Those sounds great. Those are great picks. Yeah.
Yeah. Ronald?
Well, dang, I don't know if I can top that. Dang, gun it. Dang, Elliott. Woo, that sounds cool. Well, and since I before brought about anime, this is a film that I never get tired talking about because I love this movie so much, especially if you're a fan of coming of age films. This film is so great. Okay, I got you, right? It's called Wolf's Children, okay? This film, if you've never seen it, it's just a film. I won't give too much about it, but it's just about a woman who marries a guy, and he has powers because, as the title states, of a wolf. And after that, they birth children, and they have to raise these children. These are children who are half human, half wolves, and it shows basically anything about a child growing up and you have 2 kids and they have separate personalities because as you're growing up, you learn different things, you act differently because you're trying to find out who you are. And also too goes into how parents are raising kids. And I'll tell you, man, I cried watching this movie because it is that good. All right. So if any of y'all ever want to think about seeing it, I highly recommend Wolf's Children.
Is it on Hulu or not Hulu, but HBO Max? Is it one of those Ghibli studios?
It's not a Studio Ghibli film, but I think it's on demand, maybe Amazon. If not, maybe Hulu.
Gotcha.
Right on. Great pick, man. I will. I don't say like I legitimately will watch all 4 of those movies that you guys just listed. I literally will because they all sound interesting. So.
And Grave of the Fireflies. I recommend that to you.
Gotcha. I need to watch more anime. We all do. We all do. I do.
I do too.
Yeah. So my underrated choice, Colin. You were talking about Jeremy Renner not starring in many lead star films. Well, this movie is fantastic. It stars, Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch. Wind River.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wind River is fantastic.
Phenomenal. Taylor Sheridan. What a great filmmaker this guy is. He did what did he do? The cinematography for Sicario? Or no, sorry, the
Sicario. Yeah.
DiCaprio. What else did he do? Hell or High Water. He wrote the script for both of those movies. So I was looking forward to seeing what Taylor Sheridan can do as a filmmaker. And Wind River was one of the best films I've seen in 2017. Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen play, two cops going out to search this murder investigation involving this girl, this frozen body. And it is the most intense 2 hours I've seen in filmmaking. And this is a film that many film fans or audiences have not seen yet. And if you guys are watching this at home, watch Wind River, because this movie is gripping and has great underrated performances from Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen. And Taylor Sheridan as a filmmaker has a lot of promise, and I'd love to see this guy direct more movies.
You know how underrated the movie is? I literally was just talking about how he's not the leading man in any movie, and he's a leading man.
That is true.
And any movie that shows Elizabeth Olsen's butt, we all know the scene we're talking about, immediately gets credibility. No, I'm just kidding, but it's fantastic. She's wonderful in the movie, and it's terribly underrated. Did it get any Oscar buzz? Do you guys know if it?
No,
They got nothing.
dude, they're not.
Wow.
Nothing.
Also, another person that always we were talking about Jeremy Renner and underappreciated and whatnot. John Berthal, does he always like being in movies for like 5 movies or 5 minutes? He always has to be in movies for like 5 minutes. Peanut Butter Falcon, Baby Driver, Peanut Butter Falcon that you mentioned earlier, Colin. I mean, he's in amazing movies, but he barely is in the film. But he has like such an impactful. Like,
I'm not gonna lie. I
River.
forgot about John Bernthal that way. I forgot he was in the Peanut Butter Falcon.
Yeah, he's his brother. Yeah, he's Shia LaBeouf's brother, and he literally, I think he in his contract, he's like, I have to be in the movie. I can't be in the movie for more than 15 minutes.
I gotta go home.
In Baby Driver, he's like, if you see me again, or if you don't see me again, then that means I'm dead.
He's fantastic. I mean that scene in Wind River with him and the girl was, so intense.
Yeah, great movie. That's a fantastic. That might be one of our better underrated picks for sure. Great pick. Good job, Brian.
Thank you. All right, so that was our underrated and overrated pick section of the week, something we love to do every single week. Now, gentlemen, let's talk about what's next on the docket. All right, next on the docket is our fan-submitted questions. Now, we asked you guys for questions this week, and we got some good ones. This week, and let's get right into them. So our first set of questions comes from Adam Daly over on Twitter. Great questions from Adam. He asks us, what cliches in movies drive you insane, as well as what's one thing that you would love to see on a streaming service that isn't available yet? 2 questions.
As far as the cliches, misunderstandings in rom-coms drive me nuts. They could sum up the thing in like one sentence, like, oh no, I meant this, and then we'd be fine. But no, we have to have 30 more minutes of the movie, so then breaking up, and it drives me crazy. That's what the one that comes to mind. So
automatic twist, villains getting revealed like second act of the movie with no explanation. Easily, that's for me. And what's one thing? Yeah,
you guys have a pick?
Elliott?
Kind of in the same vein as Colin, but in horror films in particular, when there's things going on in the house and going on, and the mom or dad or brother and sister, they don't tell each other what they just saw. Like, I saw a person with their head cut off, but oh no, it's nothing. I'm fine. I'm okay. You just saw someone with their head cut off. You don't just have imagination unless you're crazy. So it's like, I hate when horror films do that. It's like very similar to just communicate. You just saw someone die. Tell someone there's a ghost in your basement so you can move. Like that always.
Hey, Ronald, did you have one?
All right. I guess because too, I just saw it recently in Scoob, and it just made me just shake my head. I'm like, come on. Of when something happens to a character and they weep and they cry, and then out of a snap of a finger, the tear or something about it just twists, and then everything is back to normal. Everything's okay without you sitting back being like, but wait a minute, didn't you just say that these things had to align for this bad thing to happen, and now it's fixed?
Mm-hmm.
How?
I hate that too.
It doesn't make any sense. Then you got like, it's a movie, shush. I'm like, then why'd you make me think about it? Okay, whatever.
Yeah, whenever characters get into an argument or something, then the next scene, they're fine. Like,
it just drives me bananas.
Yeah, that's definitely that's crazy. What's one thing you would love to see on a streaming service that isn't available yet?
Two picks. I would say we talked about it earlier. I would like to see them do an Alien TV show and explore more into the Alien universe, especially the Prometheus side of it, like the engineers and all that and creation of that. And then another one that I was talking to Griff with. We were on a Jared's podcast the other day, and I brought up I would like to see a James Bond series. To see James Bond coming up in the ranks and see how he became a 007 and see what it took him to become who we know him as. So I would like that as well. So Alien and a Bond series.
I want to see Pirates of the Caribbean series on Disney Plus. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that's like
that'd be dope.
Yeah, that's just like hand in hand. Yeah.
I'd love to see a John Wick series, similar in the veins of James Bond, how he became, the badass hitman we know him to be.
Beating people up with pencils and crap, yeah.
Right,
how he mastered that.
And in the next couple of years, we're supposed to get a Showtime Continental show, which is supposed to show like the Continental and all the assassins. So, and they apparently Keanu Reeves is going to make an appearance on that. So that might be a dream come true, right?
Did you have one, Ronald?
And I do. And it goes with in Disney Plus. It's something that I know they will never do, but I would love for them to just talk about it. Is they don't talk about the Disney parks, but I would love to see in the day in lives of the Disney, the Disney employees. When I say the Disney employees, I mean the cast members. Because I have friends who have done it, especially for college programs, and especially when you see on YouTube, like you see the way when they get the letter and the auditionings to get certain roles. That it's hard work. And then
like a documentary, like a real, is it real or is it going to be like acted out?
For me, I want to be a documentary.
Okay, I would love that.
There's so much that goes into all of it, and there's highs and lows with everything, a lot of emotions with it. Some of these people are from different countries, so it's all them leaving families. So that's something that would really, I think, would be so cool to watch.
That is a great, I would love to watch that on Disney, behind the scenes,
All right, thanks for the questions, Adam. And the next one comes from my brother over on Instagram. If you had a choice of starring in or directing an upcoming major blockbuster, what would your choice be? So a major blockbuster, would you rather star in one or direct an upcoming blockbuster? What would it be?
That's a good one.
I mean, my very nature is I'm controlling, so I want to direct stuff. So I mean, I don't know what it would be though. Like I don't know if I could deal with a blockbuster because I would want to make smaller films, like a coming of age is just my thing.
Yeah.
So if I were to direct a movie, it'd be that, like a Peanut Butter Falcon, like we mentioned that a couple times, like something like that, like a road trip, small scale story. But like, so maybe if it was a blockbuster, then I'd want to star in it. But
yeah. All right. Okay. All right.
Ronald,
I got this. All right. Now, part of me back in the day would jump in like, I want to act. I want to be in that big role with Denzel on my right hand side. Okay, I would have been dope with that, but I don't like acting. Right? I don't like being in front of stage like nobody. But I would love to direct, and what I would love to direct, I would love to direct an animated film. I would love that because there's so much you can do with animation, and I think there's so much to tell. Like personally, I would love to tell an animated film about a father and son just sailing, and just sailing and just getting from one place to another. I will. If you ever read the book My Old Man to Sea, that would be where my idea would be coming from. I would totally be down with that.
Yeah, small scale too. Yeah.
No.
Man, that's a great question by your brother, Ryan, in regards to, because I'm thinking in my head, like, okay, so
this is tough.
Most impactful films. Do you remember the director or do you remember the performance? Right. It's always hard to say. So I would probably, man. Geez, that's a tough one. Probably because I'm just thinking, directors always, whenever we hear those great films, we think of, again, the director maybe more so than the actual actor or actress's name. So probably director. And if I would direct something, it would probably be a sci-fi horror film, just because I'm a big sci-fi fan and I'm a horror film. So something big, blockbuster, sci-fi horror.
Yeah, I would want to direct an MCU movie. Absolutely, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is my thing. It's what I'm known for on my channel, and I would love to have the creative mind. Give the creative input to make an MCU movie, bring in huge A-list cast members, make a great story, and yeah, that's exactly what I would do. Yeah. So thank you for the awesome question, Cody. The next one comes from Zachary over on YouTube. What are your guys' thoughts on Knives Out getting a sequel? And do you think any of the original family will return? Great question.
I love that movie so much. Like, I love it very much. I don't want a sequel. Like, there's some movies that don't need a sequel. Wherever you end it, it's fine. Because I think when you go into sequels, sometimes you dig deeper, and then I think sometimes you take the lore out of it. You know what I mean? Like, you just pick and pick and pick. I'm fine with what it was, and I love rewatching that thing anytime I can. So I don't want it. Please don't do it, Hollywood. Do something else.
Well, I'm the opposite of Ron on this one, and they've greenlit it. It's going to be happening. They announced it as it's greenlit and what happened. But what I actually like about it is that they and Ryan Johnson said it. None of the original cast members, except for Daniel Craig, is the only one that's coming back potentially. I can see maybe Ana de Armas' character maybe being like his funder, helping him fund his adventures. But I love the idea of taking that one character and exploring another family, exploring another case, and it's kind of like, a James Bond type of scenario where he's put in a different scenario. Indiana Jones put in the scenario. So I love that we're going to see Daniel Craig, which I love that character, Blanc or whatever his name was.
Detective LeBlanc, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what other, and then also which gets me super excited is the first cast. If he put all those amazing actors together, what is he going to do this second time? Are we going to see, some other characters that he worked with, some people from the Star Wars universe, Adam Driver maybe, get some Brie Larson, get a Calvin Harrison Jr., get a Florence Pugh. So I'm just excited to see what.
Knives Out could be one of those iconic, cool franchises to where I'm excited for a sequel to where we have a mystery and it's a family, or it's maybe like what if it was like a family restaurant or something, like a mom and pop restaurant where like there's some more.
You need you got to get it.
Something like that, and we'll have different. It'll be like a big thing. It's like, who's gonna be the next movie? And it could be like saying it's like that we have like it's always gonna be like the big guys. Like it will always have. Like I love that idea, Elliott, of like people. Like every single Knives Out movie has like a mystery to it that Daniel Craig has to solve, and it's like an A-list like ensemble cast.
Tom Hanks, someone Washington.
Yeah, and Ryan Johnson, like I would want him to direct as many as possible, but like if it's not him, then like we'd always have like that director with like a vision or something that comes in and kind of like theoretically like we were saying, like an Indiana Jones or James Bond, where it's like they'll do a couple movies and then we'll move on to the next. Like it's just like it's a mystery series and we have different characters. That sounds so not 2020 or 21st century, and I love it. That's why I want it to happen.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Get in some A-list actors. Like, I love to see like a Brad Pitt, a Cate Blanchett, a Leonardo DiCaprio, Bryan Cranston, just
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, that'd be really great. Yeah. I sense some danger up in here. I am the danger.
I suspect foul play. And I want him to have a different accent every movie, because
to change the southern accent and go to like
because he could be like it could always be a front, like that's his part of his thing is he's he's like a character,
Yeah, you can go to like a Boston accent or something.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect foul play. Someone just clicked off the video. Anyway, I'm very excited for this. I've been excited for this Knives Out sequel. I also really love Knives Out. Ryan Johnson doing a whodunit murder mystery. Love all the cast members involved in that movie. The twist, the comedy, just everything worked for me in that movie. And I would love to see, possibly like an Ana de Armas possibly making a little bit of like a phone conversation or something with Daniel Craig's character returning as Blanc, and just just making it just like the first one, just like this throwback 1960s murder mystery whodunit, and just having different adventures, different murder mysteries to solve. And this is like a little universe like Rian Johnson could create, because this Knives Out movie just worked. Like this whole concept really works for a universe, and I'm just really excited for the sequel. Could not be more pumped for it.
Definitely.
Thanks for the question, Zachary. The next one comes from Chris from FilmSock, great YouTuber over there. He asked us, favorite Spike Lee joint since Da 5 Bloods is coming out on Netflix this week.
I think you got to go Black Klansman. Well, at least that's what I'm going with.
Mine would either be Inside Man or Black Klansman. I loved Black Klansman. That was also one of my favorite films of 2018. John David Washington, can't wait for him in Tenet. Adam Driver as well. Like the fact he got nominated back-to-back Oscars, Adam Driver, is just insane. It's just a really great movie. It dives into, just the stuff going on. It's a really great movie. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who haven't seen it. It's a film that you need to see because it dives into all the things that is great, and just it has a phenomenal story to it. I loved it. Elliott?
It is maybe a tie with a couple films. Do the Right Thing was my first time seeing a Spike Lee film when I was really younger. That the film's just really powerful to me. Malcolm X from the performance by Denzel Washington, and I'm trying to think. I'm a big basketball fan, and again, I love Denzel, so probably He Got Game. So those are probably three, some of my top tier.
Yeah.
And Black Klansman was phenomenal, but those are my just kind of growing up. Those are the films I used to watch with Spike Lee, and those are some classics for me.
I'm totally down with what Ellie just said, and I that's why I smiled when Ellie picked two of the ones that I was thinking about. But if I had to pick one of them, that definitely because I remember I saw it, and only recently I finally saw it in its entirety, like from beginning to end, because it's a very long movie. Malcolm X, Malcolm X is so great because I've always wanted to know more about him. I've always read him in books. I've always heard stories from my parents, but to see the story of him brought on the screen, and Denzel's performance of it was so well done, and just showing the layers of him. And for anyone, I always tell them, like, if you got time, because it is a long movie, but it's worth the time to sit down and listen and watch it, because once you're done with it, you're gonna leave yourself with a get you thinking. So it's one of those movies.
Definitely.
Good choice, man. Good choice. Did you give one? Yeah, Colin and I heard it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for the question, Chris. And our last question is going to come from Mike Media Inc. over on Instagram. How did you come up with the amazing title of this amazing podcast? Well, thank you very much, Mike, for that.
I guess we're going to find out.
I can't help you with this one. I can't even try.
Yeah, Elliott, what can you tell me about that? How did we come up with a podcast?
I think it was like on a Tuesday, and then you subtract, you add the 5, and then you think about last year. And I think that's how you guys came up with it.
Yeah, carry the 1 over, and then we did that. Yeah,
falling asleep or something. All right. Let's call it Falling for Film. All right. Pretty much it's just us falling for movies, because that's what we love to talk about on here.
Yeah, I actually remember where I was when we thought about it. I was seeing the last movie I saw in theaters this year. I was going to see The Hunt, and Ryan and I were talking about starting the podcast. No one even knew about it yet, and he was like, "Oh, I'm starting a podcast," and I reached out to him saying I'd like to be the co-host or whatever, and we figured the whole thing out. But we were talking about like the idea, like we kind of surfaced it around a logo at first, like what if it was popcorn falling down? And then I was like, I think we said falling for movies at first, and then naturally like, falling for film, that like rolls
falling
off.
for film, yeah.
And it meant like falling, like we'll bend over backwards for movies, and we fell in love with it. So it just, and the alliteration, it just worked. But I think it's a good title, actually. I'm actually really like it.
That one's come out of the blue, so I like that, because creativity.
Yeah, it literally I'm. You know how like sometimes you'll text somebody multiple times in a row, like as you're thinking things out. It was like one of those things. I was like, falling for movies. Oh wait, falling for film. Like it was like perfect. And then he was like, "Oh, I like that." And we just
nice.
That's it.
Yes, thank you guys very much for these awesome questions. We love answering, very cool, unique questions all around. It's just really fun to answer them. All right, so now, gentlemen, let's go to the top 5 list this week. This actually isn't a top 5 list, but because of the Black Lives Matter movement going on right now, we figured we need to do this. I think it's very important for us to touch on this, and recommend you guys movies to watch to, for a little motivation and inspiration and positivity. These movies are really good. The ones I have on my list, I'm sure you guys as well. These are just movies to watch, during these rough times right now. We just need something to watch to lift us up, give us some positivity, as well as watch filmmaking all around. These are very tough times right now. So we're going to give you guys our 5 movies to watch, during this whole thing going on right now. Movies we highly recommend you guys to watch if you have not seen them
Educate
yet.
yourself. I think that's a big thing. And I think you guys all agree is and these ones and this whole thing I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but these things that are going on, I have radically shifted my point of view on this, and I'm embarrassed to say that I've kind of woken up from all this, and these movies definitely helped just grow up in an open-minded atmosphere as well. But these are movies that I think that are really important too. So
yeah. So who wants to start it off? I guess I'll start it off. Why not? All right. So the first movie, my first recommendation for you guys to watch is 42, the Jackie Robinson story.
Yeah, I have that on there as well. So
42 is a great movie, very underrated, underappreciated, underseen. Chadwick Boseman, his first performance, I saw him in before Black Panther, getting cast in the MCU. He's phenomenal in here. Chadwick Boseman as Jackie Robinson really dives into, how he got started off in Major League Baseball, and then the Dodgers manager, Harrison Ford, one of his most underrated performances as well, and just shows the struggles of everything he had to deal with, racism and stuff like that. And it also has Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. I forgot his name again, but he's also really good in here. It's really powerful, but it also has some good comedy in there and good lighthearted tones in there, and it just really dives into Jackie Robinson's
Harrison
story.
Ford too. Harrison Ford's great.
I said Harrison Ford's really great in here. And it's just a movie. I think if you want to educate your guys selves, this is a movie you definitely need to see. Yep. All right, Colin, you want to go next?
Yeah, this one came out because of how loaded last year was during the Oscars. This one should have gotten. I think you guys know what I'm saying. It's Just Mercy. Just Mercy absolutely blew my mind. I saw it a couple weeks ago. I saw it thinking there's no way Michael B. Jordan. I can't buy him as a lawyer. Completely bought him, and it's I'm getting emotional thinking about it because it's absolutely heartbreaking story about this man who gets falsely accused of a murder that he didn't commit, and unfortunately that's the sad reality of what's happened in this country too many times, and it needs to stop. And if you aren't convinced now, watch that movie, and it's heartbreaking, but it's beautifully everything about it's great. So I wouldn't be surprised if you guys had that somewhere on your list as well.
Yeah, it's higher on my list.
Yep. That was on my list as well, and it's available for free for everyone to stream on Apple TV and VOD. So yeah,
nice.
Yes. All right, Elliott, you want to go next?
I will. My first on my list, Fruitvale Station.
Yeah.
I didn't have that.
Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, that dynamic duo. I think of them as a young Martin Scorsese and Robert De Niro or Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio, where they just have this synergy and they just understand each other. And I thought that was their first film, and obviously history in the making, but very topical. In regards to what the film tackles. I don't want to spoil anything for those that haven't seen it, but the performance by Michael B. Jordan and the direction by Ryan Coogler, and again, the subject matter is very, very topical for what's going on now. So Fruitvale Station is definitely on my list.
Fruitvale Station, so good. Ronald?
A film that I just recently saw, and I'm really happy I saw because it came out, I think 2017, and I'm really upset that I missed it. But I Am Not Your Negro. This documentary film really, really touches so much on events that happened, not even during not the Civil War, the at the top of my
Civil
head.
Rights Movement.
Thank you. And it really, really did a great. I got it right here because I wouldn't want to mess it up. Jake Baldwin wrote a letter to his itinerary agent describing his next book, Remember the House. The book was to be a revolutionary personal account of the lives and successive assassins of the three of his close friends, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, and Martin Luther King. And when you watch it, you will see how Black people were described as from the beginning, from when they brought up as slaves till everything that these three men dealt with, and how the world still looked at them. And even when it's over, you will sit back and say to yourself how things have changed, because in a way it hasn't. And the film really does a phenomenal job touching on that.
Yeah. I've heard about it. I haven't seen it though. I need to get more into documentaries. I don't watch enough documentaries, honestly.
Yeah, it's on Netflix for like 99 cents.
No. All right. I'll go next. I put all like underseen movies that came out in these past few years. My next one's Selma. David Oyelowo as Martin Luther King Jr. Just such a great performance all around. Completely robbed of an Oscar nomination that year. Of course, it talks all about MLK and before his iconic speech, and of course the racism that went on back in the day. It's a very powerful movie. I thought David Oyelowo was just great as MLK, and the music's really good too. Glory, I think that won the Oscar too. Common, really great song, very powerful, very emotional, and just powerful. And not enough people have seen it, and you guys do definitely see Selma.
At the school I work at, they have that movie like available to watch during.
Yeah, it's also for free as well.
Yeah. You're able to watch it. I think it's like when we're talking about. So I don't teach, history or anything like that, but when they're talking about that, they watch that. So, am I up next?
Yeah.
I'm gonna double check my list. Remember the Titans.
Nice.
It's a little bit more of a spelt out kind of talking about racial discrimination, but great for kids to watch early on.
Yeah.
And because I think that's why it works, is more of a spelt out kind of like basically the message is like racism is bad or whatever, but like it hits all the sports stuff that you like too. So it's not like you're sobbing the whole movie, but it definitely hits the emotional beats about this high school coach should be, Denzel Washington's in it. I think that it's great. We've all seen it. Everyone's seen it. I hope it's great.
Yeah, it's a fantastic film. And it kind of goes into what you were saying, Colin, in regards if you can come together of a goal of winning a game in between the lines, winning a football game, take that mentality outside the football game and work together, right? So yeah. It's a fantastic film.
Yeah, simplistic plot, but very effective.
Yep, most definitely.
I guess if I'm gonna go
Absolutely.
next,
Elliott.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, I'll guess this is kind of cheating, a little bit of cheating here, but with Selma, you brought up Selma and Ava DuVernay, but last year's When They See Us, it's a mini series. It's a 4-hour mini series, well, close to almost 5 hours. So the last episode's like an hour and a half. It is one of the most impressive things I've ever seen in regards to just social injustice, being accused for something you didn't do. And then that was her baby. She directed every episode. She wrote every episode. She produced the show. I think it should have won, I know the Emmy, Chernobyl won, but I thought that When They See Us should have won the award last year. But if you guys haven't seen When They See Us, it will tear you apart. That last episode, it's on Netflix. It was a Netflix exclusive. It's still available there now. Like it involves the I can't think of their names, but it took place in, it took place in the late 80s, where essentially this white woman was out jogging. She got raped and physically assaulted, and then the cops they just said, hey, there's minorities. The minorities did it, and they just found 4 or 5 random.
My brother watched that. Yeah,
it is the last episode will tear you apart. It's such a great, again, it's a mini series, but I kind of looked at it as like a 4-hour movie, which was just fantastic. So When They See Us on Netflix, definitely recommend that.
You cheated, but I'll take it.
I believe your word, Elliott.
Yeah, I believe your
word. Just to bounce off of Elliott, because he's absolutely right about When They See Us. Like one of the most emotional rides I've ever been in my life. Like I've never been so mad watching a miniseries in my life. But to bounce off him, just going off Ava, the 13th. The 13th is it's eye-opening, honestly. Like it's a very eye-opening, I think it's a documentary film. I'm basically just talking about the history of inequality in the justice system. Like, and just seeing the structure of it, of when the amendment was made, and seeing the layers of how it was just the minorities were not made to get justice of anything, because and especially with how the jail system is, after watching it, you're just frustrated. But I think it's knowledgeable because you can't know until you walk in another man's shoes. So I think this is the kind of thing that people will need to see and understand about it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I know it's a lot of people.
I haven't seen it either.
Especially during this time too. Yeah.
Yep. It's on Netflix as well. Yep.
Yeah, so my number 3 was Elliott's underrated pick, Waves. Waves is phenomenal. This is, I think, the most underrated film that came out last year. Not enough people saw it, or it wasn't released in their area, but definitely, guys, please watch this movie. Trey Edward Schultz, he directed Comes at Night, which was a very controversial A24 movie, but this movie is very powerful as well. Kelvin Harrison Jr. gives one of the best performances of last year. Sterling K. Brown, Renee Elise Goldsberry from Hamilton is really great in here as well. Taylor Russell as the sister of Kelvin Harrison Jr. was really great. Mm-hmm. I definitely agree with Elliott that I think the second act is just as good as the first act as well. Many people say, I only watch the first act and don't watch the second act. Mm-hmm. It's a very powerful story, and it talks a lot about loss and just tragedy. Yep. And it's just a very important film that people need to see.
I had 42 as my number 3, so we can just kind of glide by that. And Ronald?
Yes, I had The Hate U Give. The Hate U Give. I remember I saw that a while back, and I cried. I cried in that movie because it really hit, and especially comparing it to what we've been going on, like it resembles so much everything about it, and experiences of, especially being a minority, and someone tells you that you're not, you're not that minority. You know what I mean? Like you're not one of those ones, the ones that did the bad things. And it's a film that when you look at it and then you see the events that have happened in the last few years, I'm not even talking about years ago, I'm talking about recent years, it hits home so much. So I highly recommend it.
Okay. Great.
I watched the first hour of that movie, and it made me depressed, and I just didn't finish it. But I agree, like, this movie's incredible from what I've seen so far. It's a very long movie, but I loved it from what I've seen. I just need to finish it. I'll probably finish it this week.
Elliott, did you?
My next pick is Blind Spotting. I believe it was 2018.
Ooh, yeah.
I've been meaning to check that out. Yeah.
Great film, man. It's again dives into police brutality and taking advantage of their power and things of that nature. But the performances are great. The chemistry between the two leads are fantastic. It shows you a little bit of the Oakland lifestyle and again, inequality out there. So it's a really, really great movie. I highly recommend Blind Spotting.
Yeah, and also, what's his name?
It was something Diggs. I can't think of his first name.
David Diggs, also from Hamilton.
David Diggs, yep.
Also from Hamilton. He's really good. Yep. So my next pick is actually Detroit, Catherine Bigelow. This movie was also very underseen that year. Very long movie, but very tough film to watch. Police brutality, trapping these people in their house. And Will Poulter gives one of the most, oh my God, performances. That character is the definition of evil. Like, that movie was just so powerful and hard to watch. You got John Boyega in it. You got Anthony Mackie in it. Just really great performances in there. And it's Catherine Bigelow. She did a great job of, showing the realism to that movie. And it's just very powerful film to watch.
I went with Black Klansman number 2. We talked about it earlier. I'm going to be honest, when I first saw the movie, I loved it, and then I wasn't a big fan of the ending where they showed like the real footage that was going on. And not because like I don't like the truth, I just something about it felt I don't want to say mean spirited, because it felt real, and that's almost why I didn't like it. Is like I was like, oh my God, that's horrible, and like it's just one of those things where you see something, you're like, I don't really know what that accomplishes, because you're like. It just shows the bad things, and I'm more of a positive person. But then, looking at it now, you're like, we just got to face it for what the truth, the reality of the situation of that happens. And even though it makes you uncomfortable,
it's not make you uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's what the intent was, and now I almost respect that movie even more. But as far as the movie itself, it's wonderful. John David Washington's great. Can't wait to see him in Tenet as well. And then Adam Driver is great. Topher Grace.
Topher Grace.
From that 70s show. Actually, came back. He
great.
was great as David Duke, that bastard. So yeah, great movie, important movie. Spike Lee.
Laura Harrier, also great.
I wouldn't be surprised if you guys had that on your list as well. So
I think a lot of people seen Black Klansman. That's why I didn't put it in.
Yeah.
But it's really great choice as well. Elliot.
I'll go with 12 Years a Slave.
Yeah, I had that. Yeah,
I haven't seen that. I feel bad.
it's so good, dude.
It's tough, man. I mean, the cast, Edgar Ford, Michael Fassbender, I mean, the list goes on. Benedict Cumberbatch, Paul Dano, Sarah Paulson, Brad Pitt. I mean, it is a hard film to watch, incredibly hard film to watch.
Picture,
yeah. Lupita Nyong'o. That was my first time seeing. I think that was her first film, if I'm not mistaken. But she was
Oscar.
fantastic.
She won the Oscar.
Yeah. So I can't recommend. It is a difficult watch for sure, but it's a must watch.
Yeah, that movie broke me as well. I saw that in the cinema. That was just tough to watch.
Yeah.
So Ronald.
Yeah.
LA 92. I just recently saw this and it fits so much today. Like, if people, and the question that's been running through of rioting, because this happened, the riots began in 92 with the Rodney King case, and how LA was during that, and how everything broke out after the verdict was out. Everything you watch in that film, the talks, the reactions, the feelings, is the same exact thing that's happening today, because riots don't come out of nowhere. They don't come out of the blue. It's sparked. It's led to something. Mm-hmm. And when you hear the people, and when they're speaking, and when they say why they're upset, why they're mad, you will see an ideal on, just like this, how time repeats itself, and it does in this film. And it'll open your eyes to a lot of how people have been feeling through all these events. You
got some deeper cuts, man. I haven't heard a lot of those stuff. Good job.
I'm here. I want to educate. I'm going to educate you. I promise. That's my job.
So since you talked about Just Mercy, Colin, that was my number one, but I actually have Hidden Figures.
Oh, why did I forget
about that one? Hidden Figures. I think this is incredibly underrated. You got Taraji P. Henson, Janelle Monáe, and Octavia Spencer as three NASA African-American women working in the time period where racism was going on. You got Kevin Costner as the owner of NASA at that time. They were testing out they were versing the Russians and all that, what was going on. And it was a really tough time, getting African Americans to speak their own minds. Of course, racism went on during this time period. And I think this movie is very underrated. I love all three of the performances from Janelle Monáe, Octavia Spencer, and Taraji P. Henson. This was like the first film I saw of Taraji P. Henson, and I wanted to see more of her work because of this. It's very powerful. It dives into all those things very well, and it's very educational as well. This is a very educational movie you guys should definitely watch during these times.
And then I went with Moonlight, my number one. Moonlight's great. I mean, it doesn't really hit on a lot of the, I guess, topics from most of the movies talked about, but I think just the representation and just that sort of thing, living like something just more, the coming of age stuff in a different way that we haven't seen, something so poignant and different as well. And Mahershala Ali is great in the film. And yeah, A24, man, great movie. One of my favorite A24 movies for sure. Ronald?
All right, Ronald.
All right, I got one last one for you guys. And it is also, no lie, it's my favorite movie of all time. This movie I love. Yeah, I do love watching it, even though it makes me sad watching it. American History X.
Oh, that's a great pick.
Oh, yes.
Because
Trevor Norton's best performance.
Especially when there's some people out there who want to have racism in their heart. And I've always said, and people I know have always believed this, is that racism isn't born. No one's born with it. It comes, it's groomed in. And this film does that. It shows you how someone could become a racist, but also too seeing the life of someone trying to go through and seeing them trying to evolve from it. I won't say no more if you have not seen it, but it's powerful, it's moving, it hits, it's hard. You see other worlds, especially if you are so closed off, you see another world and then you get it. It is very, very worth watching.
Yeah, great movie.
That one scene, you guys know what scene I'm talking about.
The both of the Edwards, Norton and Furlong, just both amazing in that movie. Yeah, without a doubt. Elliott, I think I know what your number one is.
Well, I'm gonna do a little bit of column A, a little column B in regards to we mentioned it a little bit earlier, but 1989's Do the Right Thing by Spike Lee. Again, one of my favorite films, if not my favorite Spike Lee film, but it definitely dives into police brutality and, again, just the community aspect of the movie, but also, just like I said, shining a light on that issue. But then a little bit, not a wild card, but where it all started with slavery, Django Unchained. I'm a big Quentin.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah,
that's a really good one.
When Quentin Tarantino does that and Glorious Bastards, like just seeing Django take out the slave owners, and again Leonardo DiCaprio as Candy, great. Sam Jackson is a really important character because there's a lot of African American community. There are people that do represent the Sam Jackson character, but I thought that was just a really great film, but also just really empowering in regards to just the the what if scenario in regards to Quentin Tarantino movies, in regards to what if slavery, what if they fought against their slave owners and took them out in the way that Django did. So Django Unchained is definitely one on my list.
One of the scenes in the film history was when he's like, "Tell Miss Laura goodbye," or whatever. He's like, "Bye, Miss Laura." He's like, "Boom."
Oh, you mother!
Great movie. Yeah.
Django Unchained. That's my favorite Tarantino movie. Easily.
Yeah, it's up there for me. Yeah,
so good. I also want to give a shout out to If Beale Street Could Talk. I completely missed that movie. That's a really great Barry Jenkins movie as well. If you don't kind of prefer Moonlight, I definitely recommend If Beale Street Could Talk.
Did you guys see Queen and Slim last year? I never watched it. Yeah,
I didn't. Oh, you're wearing the shirt.
Elliott's got the shirt on for the.
Yeah.
It was a really good film. Really good performance by the great Daniel Kaluuya, and also someone I wasn't familiar with, but Jodie Turner Smith. Fantastic and directorial debut. It's a really good film. Really recommend that film.
Honorable mention.
Yeah.
All right. So those are our top 5 movies we recommend you guys to watch during these times right now. Educate yourselves. They're really great movies during these rough times. So, guys, before we close out today's episode in the Fallen for Film podcast, we got to end it off with the movie quote of the week. And I guess I will kick this one off first, gentlemen. And this was a film I just watched recently, Good Will Hunting. And this comes from Ben Affleck's character, Chucky, which I think is the best quote in the movie, actually. Every day I come by your house and I pick you up and we go out, we have a few drinks and a few laughs, and it's great. But you know what the best part of my day is? For about 10 seconds when I pull up to the curb and when I get to your door, because I think maybe I'll get up there and knock on your door and you won't be there. No goodbye, no see you later, no nothing. You just left. I don't know how much, but I know that.
Not just delivered by Ben Affleck, but written by him too. So
written by him, won the Oscar. That movie's so good. That's like a scene you don't expect coming, and that was a scene I did not expect coming. That whole monologue Ben Affleck gives in the movie was my favorite scene in the movie, without a doubt. Go Will Hunting. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. Colin?
Mine is, I haven't done a Star Wars one yet, I don't think, so I'm going to do it. Ready? Here I go. Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger
leads to hate.
Hate leads to suffering. And it was Yoda, obviously. And it's a great quote. Great quote. Nothing else to say here. That's my quote.
Very original. Very original.
I kind of went with forgot what it was. Well, I think I was watching like a fan made trailer or something. It was like I've been watching a lot of those Once Upon a Time in Hollywood trailer styles for like big blockbuster movies. And I think that was a line, and I'm going to use that for the quote of the week. So yeah, that was my movie quote of the week. Elliott?
Sweet and simple. It was just kind of in these times. Again, we go to a far, far galaxy away, and Star Wars, may the force be with you guys in regards to just love, compassion, caring for humanity. That's just my simple one. Just may the force be with you.
That's a Star Wars one.
I like that one. I like that one, Elliott. Great one. Ronald?
I'm going to end it with this. And I'm taking this quote again from one of my favorite movie, American History X. And if you've seen it, you know the quote I'm about to say. Here it is. We're not enemies, but friends. We must not be enemies. Though passion may have strained, it must not break our bonds of affection. The mystic chords of memory will swell when again touched, as surely they will be by the better angels of our nature.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Great quote.
That's
That's the best quote in the movie. Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Great episode.
Awesome. Guys, yes, that wraps it up for episode 12. This was a very important episode to have, and I'm very happy we had this episode today. You know, discuss the things going on, but not focus on that mostly, but just have an episode and just share our love for movies and just talk for 2 hours straight. And I'm very happy with the guests we had on today, Elliott and Ronald Smith. Guys, their YouTube channel links are in the description below, all their social medias. Please go subscribe to them. Go follow them. They deserve your support. They have voices that need to be heard right now. They deserve your support, and I love both of their channels. Go check them out. And before we close out today, we're going to let them speak for themselves and tell you where you can find them. So, Elliott, we'll kick it off with you.
Yeah, Ryan, Colin, is an honor and it's such a privilege to be here with you guys today. And Ron, you know what I think about you, my friend. It's always great to be on a panel with you. But yeah, guys, you know, we're in a really dark spot right now in the world, but particularly in the U.S. So I always say it's a lot easier to love someone, to hate someone. So let's show a lot of love for one another. And also in regards to what's going on in the country, we just need some accountability. If there's a thing that's going to come out of this George Floyd death and everything that's been going on in the last few weeks, is accountability. And also your voice needs to be heard. So voting is very important, guys. If you guys want to see change, you got to be the one that makes the change. So definitely vote. But again, it's a lot easier to show love than hate. So that's just my final thoughts there. And then in regards to my channel, yeah, guys, I'm on YouTube at Movie Files. You know, I try to watch as many movies and TV shows as possible. Right now, I have my review for Elizabeth Moss Shirley on my channel, and then I watched a terrible movie on Netflix called The Last Days of Crime in America. I think it was just terrible. It's a terrible movie. And I'm in the midst of finishing up 13 Reasons Why in regards to review on that. So, to look forward to, and then my weekly review for Mark Ruffalo's I Know This Much Is True on HBO. So a lot of that will be coming pretty soon and is available to watch now. So again, guys, thank you for having me on.
No problem, man.
Thank you enough.
Yes, please go check out Elliott, guys. He's got great stuff over there. And Ronald, yes, thank you again for coming on too, man. Where can people find you and all that jazz?
Well, first and foremost, thank you guys for having me on with you, Mr. Ryan, Mr. Colin. I'm always happy to be talking to Elliott. Never get tired of that. But also, with me, my name is Ronald E. Smith. I always believe that everyone has a story, and that's why I love interviewing people. I love getting out of people, content creators, artists, voiceover artists, anyone in between, because everyone started from somewhere, and to get where they're going, there's been bumps each and every way. So that's why I love doing that. And just like Elliott said, the world we're living in now is scary. I know a lot of people are mad. I know a lot of people are just frustrated. But the one thing about this is also sparks change. And the only way to get change is to keep the conversation going. It is uncomfortable. No one wants to go with it, but the best things are the ones that are uncomfortable. So educate yourselves. Learn about everything that you can. If you're afraid to ask questions, go on Google. You have technology in the palm of your hand. Look at everything, because nothing will change. Trends will die. Don't let this fade, because we're just going to repeat the cycle over and over and over again. And we should be better than this. So again, my YouTube channel is Ronald E. Smith. And I've also too, and if you can, look up to where to donate. One of the ones I want you, if you want to, the NCAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund. Another one, Know Your Rights Camp. There's so much more to help people who are protesting to help them bail out. There's donations for each and every one who's lost their lives. Look them up. You will find them. It doesn't take too much to sign a petition and donate a few, because it goes to a right cause. And I promise, when there's light at the end of the tunnel, we'll get over that. All right? Please, y'all. We can do this.
Yes, guys. Yes, we will put links in the description below where you guys can donate. Please cash in something. This is going to a great cause. People need our help right now, and the best way we can do it is donate. Donate something little, something big, whatever. We need this money to go to something good right now.
If I can say one last thing before I forget, because I would be wrong if I did forget. Not only for the rights of, we pay respect to George Floyd, also pay respect to Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and each and every one who has their names not brought up because it's been so much. So for those who have been lost, and to those who we hope never have to have this said again, because I always say no more hashtags, no more I can't breathe, no more. So to those who've gone and lost, pay our respect. God bless you guys. Rest in peace, because this will be the end of that.
And stay safe. Stay safe.
Stay safe. Yes. Yeah. And Ronald, anything you can tease us? Do you have any interviews coming up with anybody you could probably tease?
Well, recently I just sat down, had a good conversation with Jared. Have y'all heard of him? Jared Buckendall, J Buck Studios.
Had him on the podcast. Yeah.
Great.
I
never heard of him.
He's a funny man.
Elliott was on his channel yesterday. Nah,
yes.
I never heard of him.
Random person. Who's that? But
who's that guy?
Very, very good brother. The man talked about so much about himself, to learn about his fears, his doubts, and why he chose the career that he has. If you are interested to learn more, Ronald E. Smith on YouTube. Check it out. You might learn a little something.
Yes, guys, both Elliott and Ronald's YouTube pages in the description below. Please go check them out. Subscribe, do everything you do on my channel and Colin's channel over on their channels. And we thank them once again. And Colin, before we close out today's episode, sir, to give your social media plugs, what videos you have coming out this week, all that jazz.
Yeah, I just want to personally thank Ronald and Elliott for coming on this very, very important podcast. I know some of it kind of maybe seems a little dark or just kind of deep and stuff like that. That's completely the intent, honestly, because this is serious, serious stuff. And so maybe not the funniest episode we ever had, but maybe the most important. And so thank you so much for coming on, guys. I really appreciate it. And as far as my channel and stuff like that, you can just look my name up, Colin Williams. Should pop right up. I don't have too common of a name. And I'm doing an MCU rewatch series. So the day that the podcast drops, an hour before the podcast drops, my MCU rewatch series drops too. So Iron Man 2 is coming up, and that's really all I got planned. I'll probably come up with some other videos down the road. And then, Instagram, Colin Williams Reviews, Twitter, Colin Williams MR, and Letterboxd, C Williams 991. Again, thank you guys so much for coming on, and awesome podcast.
Yes, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching episode 12 of the Fallen for Film podcast. Again, guys, please go donate. Link in the description below. We need your support. Need the help right now. As far as for my channel personally, we got 3 new movies coming out this week. For me, I will be reviewing Artemis Fowl on Disney Plus, The Five Bloods on Netflix, and The King of Staten Island.
Oh, yeah. I should have mentioned that. I forgot about
There's actually a lot of movies coming out this week. So look forward to all those reviews dropping this week. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. Peace.
Take care.